a very good morning. It is 4 minutes past 9 on this Tuesday, the 5th of August, 2025. How are you all keeping? I do hope you had a great weekend, and what a busy weekend it was potentially for you right across our beautiful region. So many activities and festivals and fundraising and events taking place, and great crowds out and about, even though the weather turned on us, didn't it? Sunday evening into Monday. Yesterday was like a winter's day, except a little bit milder with these stormy weather conditions, which are complicated because all the trees are heavy and full of leaves and what have you. So a strong wind in the summer is much more potentially problematic than a strong wind in the winter. But we all got through it, hopefully, and I do hope you're very well today. Now, we've got so much coming up on the programme, as always, and we want your views and your opinions and your comments and your topics coming into us. Keep us busy. We're very interactive here, and your interaction with us is crucial to the show. 086 60 25,000, that's the WhatsApp and text number if there's something that you want mentioned. 086 60 25,000. If you prefer to give us a call, the number there is 074 91 25,000, 074 91 25,000, and feel free to email comments at highlandradio.com. So if you're listening to the podcast on the website or maybe the re-stream of the show overnight, feel free to comment via email, and we can pick up your comments and carry them through to the next live show. And of course, just to remind you, maybe you're on your summer holidays, the start of August, very quiet for many people as they take a break. Don't forget, if you're at home, you can watch the show on your smart TV or your Fire Stick. Just open the YouTube app and type in Highland Radio Ireland and join our regular viewers every single day in their thousands. Or you can watch on Facebook and X. Let's see what's happening in the papers today. We'll go to the Irish Independent, and it's the story of an Indian taxi driver who was assaulted in an unprovoked attack. His children have said to him that they don't want him driving a taxi any longer. Lakhir Singh, who's 46, is recovering from his injuries he suffered in the attack, but he has been left too scared to even think about his livelihood and future. The father of two was dropping off two young men at Poppintree Community Sports Centre, where they turned on him and struck him twice across his forehead with a bottle, shouting, "Go back to your country." The men ordered the taxi on an app at about 11:30 p.m, and one of the two willingly paid the €50 fare up front. The other man, however, initially refused to get into the taxi with a black driver, but he was persuaded to take the lift, according to Mr. Singh. After a stop off at a garage in Ballyman, Mr. Singh dropped the two men at Poppintree, where they suddenly turned on him. And there's a couple of stories in the papers today about attacks on people from different countries, some born here, some that have moved here, and the narrative being that there is an increase in these types of attack, racial language or rhetoric, and what have you. So that seems to be the focus of many papers and different stories today. Is that the lived experience? I've spoken to people from how shall I put it, different communities in Donegal over recent years, and have wondered if their experience in Ireland has worsened in recent months and years, and the general consensus seems to be no. I mean, I'm not for 1 second in any way mitigating or trying to reduce the experience that this man went through, but there are random attacks for all different reasons all of the time, and bad people do bad things, and they'll always try and use an excuse. I'm not sure if that's the way society is going, or if that's just a couple of instances. 086 60 25,000. The Irish Times this morning reports that the age, number of previous pregnancies, form of contraception and gestation of women who access abortion services in Irish hospitals is to be collected by the HSE for the first time. The National Women and Infant Health Programme is running a pilot system designed to collect more information about termination of pregnancy health services in Irish maternity hospitals. Though the data system is only coming in a number of maternity units, there are plans within the HSE to make it national. While it will mainly collect information about abortions carried out in hospital settings rather than from pills provided by a GP, the HSE will also start collecting details of women who present to hospitals after taking abortion pills at home or accessing a termination abroad. Until now, the only national data collection about abortion each year was the total number of terminations carried out under each section of the law. the month it was carried out, and the county or country of residency of the woman accessing the health service. The data was required to be reported to the Minister for Health under legislation introduced in 2018 following the repeal of the Eighth Amendment. The HSE said until recently there was no formal or systematic national mechanism for monitoring, evaluating termination of pregnancy services. What will that that data be used for? I do wonder. But anyway, there it is. There is some statistics here. The most recent data available from the Department of Health said the number of women who had abortions in Ireland rose to 10,852 last year. The overwhelming majority, 10,711, were early pregnancy terminations, where a woman takes two types of medicines prescribed by a GP up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. The HSE said its new data system will collect more detail about abortions provided in hospital settings. So last year, 10,852 abortions, the majority of them, bar 140, were in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy. So 140 were after the 12 weeks. It doesn't give any further information in relation to that. But almost 11,000 abortions in 1 year in this country. And of course, the conversation at the time would have been that abortion was required, and I'm not debating it again, but just when we were voting in the referendum, a lot of the conversation was about fatal fetal abnormalities and rape and incest, and issues such as that, and that people didn't anticipate a massive rush of people seeking abortions, but it seems we don't know the breakdown as to why people chose to get them. But the vast majority in the first 12 weeks, that means there's no indicative scan, I would imagine. I'm not a doctor, but I think a lot of information becomes apparent at 20 weeks. So the overwhelming majority in the first 12 weeks. Rural families with gay and transgender teens continue to face tacit and explicit homophobia. This is the Irish Daily Mail. One parent told researchers compiling a government report his family are moving because their son's at risk of suicide because of bullying. When my son is hanging from a shower, who do I blame? The parent asked. We're now moving next month out of the town because it's affecting all of us. Another parent said LGBT kids see what my son goes through and there's no way those kids are coming out. Our town makes no secret that he's different. They should be able to look at him expressing himself. He should be an inspiration, not a warning label. Another parent said of their son, you hear the horror stories, so that does make me worry. Another parent told researchers if we were in Dublin, we would have completely different supports. The reports published by the Department of Children and Equality highlighted a lack of mental health help for carers and their children, with families from rural communities disproportionately impacted, while only a minority of urban parents described their child as experiencing homophobia or transphobia. Most from rural areas reported feeling afraid for their child's safety, with few places to go for help. A notable number of the 26 parents and carers interviewed made the decision to move schools and in some cases moved their families to avoid bullying. This highlighted a clear need for more support and monitoring within schools, particularly in more rural communities where acceptance was more challenging, the report noted. So I'm not sure if that report or it's something within it that affects you or affects someone in your family, or if it's an issue you recognise in our part of the world. If it's something you want to talk about, feel free to get in touch with us on 086 60 25,000. Now, we're going to be talking a little bit later on in relation to Ryanair going paperless. This is one of those stories whereby I haven't furnished a piece of paper at a boarding gate for ages and ages and ages and ages, and I actually find it a distraction, unnecessary, and you can potentially lose them. I like the idea that they're on your phone, and if you're travelling with someone, and even if you lost the phone, they've got them on their phone as well. So I recognise that it's going to be a complication for some, but just to be completely honest, it's not something I've experienced for a very long time. So we're going to be talking about that, but we're going to be talking to a travel expert. So maybe you're planning on going on holidays later this month or next month or October, and perhaps maybe you're looking for a suggestion, a destination for a couple, for a single traveller, or maybe as a family, or whatever it might be. So if there's a number of questions, I can put them to Owen, who's going to be joining us later. So if you have any questions about holidays, holiday destinations, where's good to go, where's hot, where's not, let us know, 08660 25,000, because interestingly, a lot of people seem to report that some of the big hot spots, if I could put it like that, in terms of numbers, have been relatively quiet throughout July, and I just wonder what's going on. We know our visitor numbers here are down, but it's not unique to us, I don't think. The United States has seen some of their markets completely collapse. But anyway, if you've got any questions about destinations, let us know, 08660 25,000. The Sun reports today that Sinn Féin is urging the government to intervene and stop another price increase on electricity bills. The Commission for Regulation of Utilities is preparing to increase the network cost on bills to help pay for future capital investment. However, the price of power for the big data centres around the country, which use up a large percentage of the Irish supply, is to be reduced. Sinn Féin slammed the proposed price increase for consumers and price cut for the data centres and said the timing is all wrong, especially with over 300,000 householders in arrears. Now, I understand we have to invest in our network, but why are a very small group of companies able to take a quarter of our electricity and pay less for it? I mean, maybe there is broader benefits to the economy with data centres, but please articulate that for us. Many hundreds of thousands of us are struggling to pay bills. Why are our bills going up when electricity companies are making record profits? Why aren't they using some of their resources or more of their resources to invest in the infrastructure? That means the better the infrastructure, the more development, the more money they make. It's crazy, isn't it, that we're paying for the infrastructural development so that electricity companies can provide more electricity and make more money. And data centres just have come in here and now they take one quarter of all of our electricity. For what? What's the benefit to us? Why is their power going down? Why is ours going up? There does come a point where we need to stop being treated like Egypts, or at least explain in very, very clear terms as to why that is. Why are electricity companies' profits insulated? No pun intended. And when we need to spend extra money, it's the hard-pressed consumer that has to do so. I would love an explanation, a clear explanation, and I think we're entitled to that. I presume many of you are tracking this story and it's covered in all the papers. I'll take it from the Irish Daily Mirror, of the family of an Irish woman who was kidnapped in Haiti. They say the situation is deeply worrying as they pray for her safe return. Gina Herity from Westport in County Mayo was among 7 adults and a 3-year-old child kidnapped in the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince. The humanitarian worker is the director of the Santa Helene orphanage run by Nos Petits Pires et Soeurs in the community of Kenskoff. In a statement, her family said, the situation is evolving and deeply worrying. We're working closely with NPFS in Haiti and Ireland, the Irish government and international partners who are doing everything possible to ensure the safe and immediate release of Gina and her colleagues. She was arrested by a group of former rival factions that now work together, abducted, who are looking to disrupt. They're a disrupting organisation, and obviously have now garnered international headlines as they ply whatever ideology they are playing. But anyway, a very, very worrying time for a family so far removed from Haiti and waiting on info. The Irish Daily Star, what do you think about this? A zoo is asking for owners of small, healthy pets to donate their furry friends as food for its predators. The Aberg Zoo said it is trying to mimic the natural food chain of the animals housed there for the sake of animal welfare and professional integrity, and offers assurances the pets will be gently euthanized by trained staff. So I don't know whether it's your gerbils or your rabbits or whatever. It could be any animal. What do you think about the notion that they become part of the food chain for predators? I mean, it is natural. They could be, they're a natural predator. But I mean, obviously these animals now are domesticated in the wild. It happens anyway. Is this a terrible way to sort of maybe deal with unwanted pets, but also satisfy the hunger of their natural predators? Well, the visitor attraction in Denmark explained in a Facebook post, if you've got a healthy animal that needs to be given away for various reasons, feel free to donate it to us. The zoo points to guinea pigs, rabbits and chickens as possible donations, but some were outraged, with one man posting, imagine giving away your pet as fodder. It hardly gets more disrespectful and nasty than that. I agree. I understand. I don't have any of these animals. But if you're giving them up, you're giving them up because you probably can't care for them. And, you know, at what point is there a difference between a rabbit in a field that its natural predator will have a go at it versus, you know, Mr. Fluffles? I know I wouldn't do it. I'm just wondering what your views are out there, because we can be a little bit a la carte and cherry pick as to, you know, when we're very worried about animal welfare, and then when we're tucked into a chicken breast and we're not worried at all. Anyway, 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. Good morning, Mary Jo Boner. Great to see you Friday. Hope you had a great weekend in Dunlow. Yes, indeed, Mary Jo, we did. We were in and out Friday, in and out Sunday. Absolutely wonderful. Fair play to Gavin and Pat and all the team. They do an amazing thing down there in Dunlow, as do festival organisers right across the region. But it's a massive undertaking, and it's very good. It's great. They do fantastic stuff, and they're heading towards year 60, the year after next. So big times ahead. Good morning, Mike. Always good to have you watching. And Dolores, you're never too far away. Okay, we'll be back with more on Tuesday's 9 till noon show after a quick break.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Join Sinead Black and the Highland Radio Outside Broadcast team this Tuesday, August 5th at the Clonmany Agricultural Show in association with Inishowen Credit Union, celebrating the community and supporting our farmers while enjoying thrilling livestock exhibitions, sheepdog trials, cookery demonstrations, fashion shows and much more. Visit the Inishowen Credit Union stand to chat to their friendly team about competitive loan rates and services. That's this Tuesday at the Clonmany Agricultural Show.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at the Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
TFI Local Link operates evening and weekend services throughout rural Ireland to help you stay connected 7 days a week. We know life doesn't just happen 9 to 5, so if you're commuting, shopping, visiting family, or going out in the evenings or on the weekends, let TFI Local Link take you there. Visit transportforireland.ie.
Celebrate summer this week at Centra with their amazing summer sizzler offers. Like Nutella ice cream tub, only €4. Pringles 165 gram, now only $1.75. And Goodfellas takeaway pizza selected range, €3 each. Centra. Live every day.
I had problems with my knees for about 7-8 years. I think I'd give Kingsbridge 5 stars just because of the support and help that they gave me before and after the surgery. I was a public patient and the HSE reimbursed the cost.
Republic of Ireland residents can get rapid access to cross-border surgeries at Kingsbridge private hospitals in Belfast and Derry, with medical costs reimbursed by the HSE. Find out more at kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com/cross-border. Kingsbridge, your fast track to 5-star care. Terms and conditions apply.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time's 23 minutes past 9. Now, a Facebook post went up recently, and it reads, and it's been shared out by a group called iPass Hunters. A fantastic idea has emerged from Buncrana and should be replicated in every town around the country. They plan to follow any workmen working on iPass centres in Walker's Lane home and stage peaceful protests outside their home. So the idea being, if workmen and women are working on the development of an iPass centre, and everyone knows where they are because there's planning applications and what have you. The idea being that you would follow the workers from the iPass centres to their homes and then protest out their homes. They say the days of messing on your countrymen and women and hiding behind the facade that you're only a cog in a bigger system is over. It'll be brought to your door. If you're not ashamed of where your money comes from, that won't be a problem for you. But your neighbours will know what you are now. Without you, the plantation, as they've described it, is not possible. So the plan is that people working on iPass centres would be followed home and protests outside their homes. So, theoretically, if this were to happen in Donegal, this would be potentially your friends, neighbours, your fellow community people. I believe this idea came from local man Kim McMenamum, who's a community activist and stood in the local and general elections 2024. Kim, this is a departure, to say the least, to be targeting innocent people out for a day's work and then protesting outside their homes, and their families and their neighbours. Why do you think this is such a good idea?
Well, first of all, it's not an innocent day's work. It means if you're working in one of these centres, you're actually facilitating bringing more and more people into your communities. So you're increasing the pressure on all the infrastructure, the doctor surgeries, the hospitals, everything, the school places, you name it. We know the whole 9 yards on that. So you remember, it's not an innocent employment. Like, you could get employment elsewhere. And we spoke to some workers already, and they totally understood it. Like, there were scaffolders appeared to the job, the extension there in Walker's Lane in Buncrana. They appeared there on Friday morning. We just went and spoke to them. And I have to say, they totally got it and understood. We said, let's look, you're going to be taking part in something that's going to harm this. There's a potential to harm this community on the infrastructure level, on the crime level, and God knows what else. So I said, look, would you not stand down and get work somewhere else? And he's going, oh, Kim, we're totally with you on that, and we're out of here. No, we don't want to be involved. They actually said they didn't even know what it was, but, take that with a pinch of salt. But they were compliant, and we approached them really, really peacefully and in such a nice way, understanding way, that they got it. Everybody gets it now.
I get where you're coming from, and I know how you're framing it, Kim. But if I'm in a work site and a group of lads come in, sort of, a few vigilantes land up to where I'm working, and say, if you don't desist from working on this project, we'll come into your house. You frame it like you just went out for a pint afterwards.
First of all, we're not vigilantes. We're concerned community citizens. We're not vigilantes. That's a label. You've just framed a label there on. And actually, let's get back to that. It was me, myself, that approached them. I approached four men by myself. There was no vigilante or no group of people, because it was early in the morning, and it was just myself. And it did the job. Why? Because people now have had enough. Everybody's had enough. Everybody feels it. The dogs in the street are barking it. Ireland is full to the brim. Every country in Europe is full to the brim. That's why you're having this social disorder in every country, because people aren't taking it anymore. Now, the line has been drawn in the sand. Yes, if you work in iPass Walker's Lane extension, you will be followed home peacefully. We will find out where you live, and we will have a peaceful, nice demonstration on the road or on the footpath outside your home. And it won't be intimidatory in nature. It will be just to highlight and show
How would you feel if people decided just to go out and protest outside your home? How would your family feel?
I would have to stop working where I'm working, because these are concerned community citizens.
No, but how would you feel? How would you feel if people say people were peed off with the angle you take and everything, and said, right, until such time as you desist from the type of activity you're involved in, that we're other members of the community, we're not happy with what's going on. And I'm not saying that would or wouldn't happen. How would you feel if people threatened to have a lovely, happy, peaceful protest outside your house? How would that make you feel?
Well, it's not a threat. It is exposure. We have to expose people who are facilitating these centres in our town. There's going to be 40 people.
Well, yeah, but I mean, would you be happy to give your air code on air, for an example? Would you be happy with that? No,
we're not getting people's air codes.
No. My point is, I know that, but I mean, I'm just saying, would you be happy? Say, for instance, if there were people that disagree with what you're doing, Kim. Are you happy to give your air code so they're entitled to go out and have a little peaceful, happy protest outside your house?
Well, look, if people have a disagreement with me, yes, come to my door and have it out with me.
No,
and
but just
if
don't want
I'm
to
in
have it
the
out with you.
wrong
We just
or
want
I'm
to
in the
sit,
right,
out, just
we'll
want to
sort
sit
the
outside
situation.
your
But,
house with banners and just say that you're giving the impression that Ireland is an unwelcoming, racist country. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, okay? I'm just giving an argument as how it could be perceived. And until such time as you persist with giving that impression, we're just going to have a little protest outside your home.
Yeah, a little
I don't know if
peaceful-
you've got. I don't know if you've got
yeah.
kids or a partner or what have you. I'm just wondering, as you were heading out to school with them or what have you, how would that make you feel if they just disagreed with you and what you're doing?
Well, first of all, if you're working in a public place like Walker's Lane iPass Centre, you're going to be photographed and videoed first, right? You're going to be given a chance. Right? You're going to be given a chance to desist from what you're doing. And if you continue to do that, like the last thing we want to do is be outside people's houses. You're right. We don't want to take extreme measures against people. We don't want to. But look, this is an extreme situation. It's a world crisis. It's a local crisis.
Okay.
So it requires an extreme response.
Why did you decide to run in the general election? What was your motivation?
Get the support. Yeah, well, I got nearly 900 votes in the local election. So, I have a good mandate because I know there's a friend of mine who's a councillor down in Dublin, and they've divided Dublin up in such a way that he only got 640 votes and he became a councillor. So Donegal is divided in such a way that the same parties get in all the time. Donegal's divided up in such a way. It's the whole everything in Donegal is unfair.
Yeah, but
totally unfair.
But and it's only just for the sake of the conversation. You wanted to get democratically elected by your community to, I presume, go in and affect change, to stop iPass centres coming into Donegal and what have you. You failed in that regard. You didn't get your mandate, and now you're threatening.
I wouldn't say I failed, but go ahead.
No. I mean, no, you did very well. 900 votes is very impressive. I'm on about literally just the act of getting elected. I'm not having a go, Kim. It's not what I'm interested in. I just want a conversation.
Saying they're democratic. Well,
no, but my point is because you wanted to get elected to affect change, but the election didn't work out for you. Let me put it like that. But now what you're doing is, Kim, and it's to tease it out. Some people might agree, the majority might. I don't know. Now what you're saying is if you work in a particular place, we're going to take photos of you and videos, and then we're going to put you up on social media where thousands of people across the country will, effectively doxing people, right? Identify you in this, that, and that. And if that doesn't work, what we're actually going to do, and it doesn't matter, you could have a child with special needs in the house. It doesn't matter. Whatever it might be, we're going to call around and sit at outside your house until you stop working at a place that we don't want you to work on. Is that democracy, really? Is that democracy, though, Kim? It doesn't feel right,
Look, if someone really, it doesn't feel right. I know that, but things have to change. But if you feel that you're okay working there and you're quite happy doing it, you'll have no problem getting photographed and videoed because you're in a public place. We can do that. It's a democratic process. It's a democratic process to protest as well. You can protest anywhere you like if there's an issue. So look, it's not what you think it is. It's not as extreme as you think it is. Everything will be done in a peaceful, democratic way.
Listen, Kim, I've been on the end of it, right? I know exactly what happens. It's doxing. What happens is you put people's images on. They start talking about where you live. They start talking about whether you're a paedophile or whatever it might be. I've seen it all, right? So I know, yourself, right, that what happens when someone's identity or images are put up on Facebook. And you're an intelligent person and you know exactly what happens, right? It's an absolute pylon at the highest of levels. Now, you're also then proposing if someone is resilient enough to accept that, then you will actually call around to their house, and it could be your next door neighbour, Kim. You will call around to their house, regardless of the makeup of that household, and have protests outside their house in your own community, Kim. For many people, that is a step too far.
Actually, you're wrong because we've already approached 7 workers already, and we gave them, we told them this is what we're going to do, and they just stood down and they said, well, we're not going to work here anymore because they get it and we understand. Everybody understands that. So the bottom line is, so far it's been quite successful and we haven't had to put people's photos up. Do you understand, Greg? So, but if we have to, if we have to go to extreme, we will. Yeah, 100%. Why not? Why not? Because let me finish. They're bringing this to our doorstep. They're bringing this to our doorstep. So if you're going to bring danger to our doorstep, we have a right to come to your doorstep.
But you know that works on that works going to happen anyway. So it's people coming from down the country will end up coming in and doing this work anyway. It's only.
I can assure you now, Greg. I know myself, and I'm confident. I know what I can do. It's not going to happen. That building, that extension, it's not going to happen.
What's next if it's a house that you don't like in the local area, if it's journalism, maybe you don't like a particular journalist, where does it, with this type of action that you're engaged in now, and you are the sole arbitrator, it's you decides what you want and what you don't want, where do you stop? Like, what is going to keep... What is going to stop? No, but like it could be anything. So you literally, now at this point, anything you don't like, you can go threat to video or photograph people, and if that doesn't work, threaten to go outside their house. You don't care, right? Well, so it could be a transmitter, it could be a journalist, it could be a house that's blocking your view, or a friend of yours. If you like, you are now effectively, the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Where does it stop with you? Is it iPass centres, or what might be next that you don't like?
No, that's wrong. You have to stand up. You have to stand up for your community.
I know, I get that,
look, you would prevent danger if you got a chance to do it. If I saw someone getting beat up, I would come in and try and rescue them. Like, it's just a matter of self-defense, trying to protect your community. It's not about, anybody who disagrees with me, we're going to take their photo and put it on a website. That's untrue, Greg. It's not like that. You're losing the context here. It is totally about protecting this community in Buncrana.
We do not want you would take you would put the, like, I know the Facebook pages. This video, this interview is likely to be cut, and I'm likely to be absolutely hammered. I know exactly how it works. You've done it on your own Facebook page to me before, Kim. I know the crack. I don't mind, but you know exactly what I'm talking about here. If these photos and videos of people are put up on the iPass Hunters or the Buncrana Together or whatever the pages are, I don't even know what they are. You know exactly what happens to these individuals potentially. I know, and you know, they're doxed. They're doxed. Yeah. So and also now what you're doing is you're saying if we will expose where you live next and protest outside it. But anyway,
look, it's just. Yep, that's just honest journalism to prevent danger and to protect the community. It isn't anything that you're saying. You're trying to turn it around to be something that it's not, Greg. And we all know that you're doing that as a journalist. But I have a right as a citizen journalist to actually express the fears, the apprehensions. Women in Buncrana are afraid to go around Swans Park for a walk on their own, because they know there's an inherent danger. We don't know these people that are coming in. We still don't know, despite what the government are trying to propagandize, that everything's great and it's safe and we're doing this and we're doing that. They're doing nothing.
All right,
they're not supporting anyone.
Let's bring Paul in here. Paul, good morning to you. What's your reaction to this development that we'll photograph you, we'll video you, we'll put them up online? If that doesn't work, and it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, we're calling around to your house.
Right, I'll say the first thing, hey, that man there should be completely and utterly ashamed of himself for coming up with something like that there. Hey, that's unbelievable. That's just crossed the line, Greg. Do you know what I mean? That's crossed
just
the
let
line.
him speak, Kim. Kim, let him speak, please. Go ahead, Paul.
Lovely. I love that.
You yourself community activist. Like where did you live? You live in the Fun Valley.
Who are you?
You live in the Fun Valley. Hey, and you're a bunch of workers from Montana. You're a field wannabe. That's what you are. You're a field wannabe politician. Like, come here. You're calling yourself a citizen journalist. Like, what is a citizen journalist?
Okay, let's put the 40 people from the iPass Centre here down beside you. And will you take them into your house? Why did you take them in?
Wait, you tell me on the way.
Right, Kim, let Paul speak, please. All right, Kim, let Paul speak. Go ahead, Paul.
Would you put up online? It's threatening. That's a threat. Whether it's veiled threats or not. And that should be completely and utterly condemned.
Greg's wrong there.
No.
I am not coming to anyone's door. I said outside on the road as a peaceful
All right, Kim.
democratic
Listen,
protest.
Kim.
So come on, get it right.
No, but Kim,
Come on,
like
come on.
you know what? If they
Get it
live,
right, man.
no, but if they live in Main Street, Buncrana, or they live a couple of kilometres out the road, when you say protesting outside the front door, that's like we're not. Let's not split hairs. You know exactly what we're talking about, Kim. Like I'm not having a go. It's your plan. It's not my plan. I'm not trying to sensationalise it.
You said to that guy there, I was going to go to their door. I'm not going to their door.
But you know
So
what?
get it right. Get
Their
it right,
house.
Greg.
You're going to their house.
I said outside on
Yeah,
the road.
that's
You
it, of
said I
course.
was going to their. You said I was going to their door. Like, go back on the recording. You just said I
No,
was
but
going
you
to their
don't.
door.
Yes, but
You're
that's
making
semantics.
something-
No.
You're making something
No,
out of
I
nothing,
says
Greg.
protest. I says protest at their house, outside their house. That
No,
is,
you just know.
listen.
People you
Okay,
can
but
rewind it.
you're splitting
Greg just
hairs.
said I would be at their door. You said that guy I'd be at their door.
Okay, listen to me.
You're making it out to be more of a threat than it is. You
Outside their
definitely
house,
are.
directly outside their house, right?
You didn't. You said door.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's
just
it.
Go back
Yeah,
on the
but
recording.
no, I'm not backtracking. It's phraseology.
Well,
if you bring
you've
something
a
to
bad
some
memory.
No, I've never.
You've a
No,
poor memory,
I
Greg.
don't have a poor memory. I'm saying I did say that, but it's been
you
very
did.
clear from the beginning that you're talking about protesting outside people's houses. That's correct, yeah.
You said to that guy I was going to their door. You just said it.
But
I
you're
know
going
you
to.
said it.
But
And
you're
guys,
saying you.
why did you just apologise now? Why did you just? Why did
But
you
you're
just
saying-
Because go back on.
No, but
the
I don't. No,
recording is
but-
there.
No,
The
Kim.
recording's there.
Are you so? Just to be clear, if they don't stop working, you're going to go and protest at their houses, outside their houses.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not going to their door, like you said. Entering their property.
Oh, I
You
never said that. Oh, geez, Kim.
Oh, you did.
I
And
says you'd enter and
have
you will rewind it back. You says that I said
All right,
you would
we'll
enter
put
their
it up.
property.
We're not arguing that, but it's,
You says
there for everybody.
So you
to
says,
hear.
but sure, Kim. You says I says you would enter their property.
You said I would go to their door, which intimates that I am
Not,
going
it
to
doesn't.
enter
No,
their
no,
property.
no, it
Yes,
does not.
go on
No,
their
no,
gate,
no,
go on their front gate.
No, no.
Well, you did say it, Greg. No.
So
All
you're
right,
saying
well,
that I'm saying
the
that
time-
you're saying that I'm saying that you would go in through their
Let-
front gate. No, I never said you'd go into the house.
Right.
I never said you go through the front door. I says you'd bring the protest to their house or to their door.
No,
That's the
you said
same
front
thing.
door. But anyways, look,
That's the same. That's the exact same thing. We're not going around the
let's
back, are
stick to
you?
the subject. Can we stick to the subject matter,
Yeah,
please?
Paul, go ahead. Sorry.
Sure, hey, they were only trying to hey, they went to home of a Donegal County Councillor in Bundoran. And hey, how does that fit out? Like, you know what I mean? You know, that's we're not splitting hairs. We're calling it what it is here.
Why did you keep talking about facilitating the invasion of this country? Why did you keep talking about that then? Go on, keep talking about that. Go on, hey, you know, what are you talking about? Like, would you talk to me like that if you met me in the street? I don't think you would.
I absolutely would. Hey, I tell you, somebody
No,
comes to my front door. I said, if somebody comes to my front door, or
Nobody's going to your
I
front
start
door.
protesting.
Would you get over
You're
to the front?
hitting
Get over to the front door. Nobody's going to the front door. You're exactly saying what Greg said. Then you're the proof. You're the
So
proof
what?
that he said I would come to doors. That's wrong. I never said that. Go back on my stuff. Look at my videos. Look, if you're going to come on,
Can I
arguing
just
with
say?
me,
Can I just? Paul and Kim. Kim, can just
Paul,
calm.
you're-
Listen,
Paul, get your back right, Paul.
Kim, will you just
Yeah.
let me speak for a second? I want to read from iPass Hunters here, right? If you want to get caught up in the semantics of it, let me just read
Yeah,
this.
go on.
They plan to follow any workman working in the iPass centres in Walker's Lane home and stage peaceful protests outside their homes. Okay?
Yeah, what's
Now
wrong with
listen,
that?
let me
What's
read
wrong
on.
with that?
Let me read on. The days of crapping on your countrymen and women are hiding behind the facade that you're only a cog in a bigger, better system is over. It will be brought to your door if you're not ashamed of where your money comes from. It will be bought
Yeah.
from. It will be brought to your door. Is
And who said
literally
that?
the
And
iPass
who said-
Hunters.
Yeah, that's not me. So people are entitled to their own opinion, are they not, Greg?
Yeah, but you're just after completely lambasting me for saying precisely what is and whose money's that top. Who shared that post? That do we know? Don't know who that is.
Everybody shared it as far as I know.
But so I'm literally so everybody shared it. I don't even say I never went as far as that post says, and then you're dragging me up on that, Kim. It says it in the post It will be brought to your door. And if you're not ashamed of where your money comes from, that won't be a problem for you. But your neighbours will know what you are now. Without you, the plantation is not possible. So, listen, people will have their views on it and what have you. But I was literally just quoting from the post
Padraig
that is...
McLaughlin, the TD for this area, Padraig McLaughlin stated Donegal should be exempt. We are overflowing with immigration. He said Donegal should be exempt during the Ballyliffin standoff.
Yeah, but a lot. I think the majority of people in this county are of the view that our services are stretched to breaking point, and that Donegal has done as much or equal or more to Eddie County.
And I'm the only one standing up and doing something about it, because our local representatives are not voicing their opinion. Everybody is being silent. I wonder why that is. Any idea why that is? Why did Donegal County Council pass that planning when a family living right on the main street are totally blocked from sight and light?
Okay.
Why will they totally ignore it? Donegal County Council should be ashamed of themselves.
But Paul, to your...
I don't know who the planners are.
But Paul, to your broader point... I get you, Kim, sorry.
Must be woke. They have to be woke people.
Yeah,
they have to be.
You've had a good old run, Kim, and I appreciate you coming on. But Paul, you believe, without getting in... But sure, Kim, you've had 15 minutes to get your point across, and every time Paul spoke, you've spoke over him. So...
but he's not making sense.
He's sharing his opinion. Are we not entitled to exchange opinions? Like, is that gone as well?
I'm entitled to call people out.
Yes, I know, but people are entitled to express an opinion, Kim, and Paul has his opinion. And Paul, you believe, do you, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, that this is a step too far? This is extremism.
Of course he does.
I'm condemning it straight away. Absolutely condemning it. And, I'm friends with people that have worked in APAS centres. And I'm telling you, hey, Kim McManaman, you're sadly mistaken if you think that they're going to walk away from a couple of €100 a week job.
They don't have to.
Come on now. Come on. Get away from that now. You're splitting hairs. You're confident in it.
They do not have to. They do not have to walk away. They don't have to. They can work there if they want. There's no force being used.
I know the scaffolders exactly who you're talking about. They're from Derry.
All right, okay. Listen.
All
right, I think Paul's opposition to it is very, very clear. Kim's position is also very clear. Kim, other people working in the iPass sector, are they next? If they're catering, or where does it end?
Anyone, any supplier. Look, I spoke to a company the other day, and they agreed to stand down and not supply, and because they do not want their business being affected by me putting something up on a post.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's fair journalism. If you're doing something, don't be hiding it. Don't be secret about it. Don't be coming in.
It'll be interesting just in terms of journalism. You've been allowed, we've had you on here. We've had a good exchange of views. It'll be interesting to see how you frame this as a citizens journalist when you share it out a little later on. It'll be interesting to see how it all pans out, because sometimes I think sometimes people prefer if this is not discussed and talked about. But we'll see. All right, Kim, thanks for your time. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. Paul, thanks for your time as well. We'll be back after the break.
Step into National Heritage Week. Uncover the past, explore the present, and connect with your community. From city streets to forest trails, discover the places, stories, and people that shape who we are. Taking place from the 16th to the 24th of August, find events at heritageweek.ie. National Heritage Week is a programme of the Heritage Council, supported by the local authorities' heritage networks and the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage.
Hybrid, plug-in hybrid, electric. Don't get confused. Get excited with Toyota, Ireland's best-selling car brand. At Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles, you get the power of choice. There's our wide range to see, including the Toyota CHR and the all-electric BZ4X, with power-up boosters of up to €3,000 and flexible payment options available. So order now at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world. T's and C's apply. Best-selling claim based on latest figures.
Look smart for less in the big summer sale at Watson Menswear Letterkenny, with up to 50% off suits, blazers and shirts. Also a great suit deal with a suit, shirt, tie and shoes, all for just €299. If you've got a big occasion coming up or just want to look smart for less, visit the sale now on at Watson Menswear. Open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, and at watsonmenswear.com.
Don't know if you know Alice and Pat. Late 40s, couple of kids, been together 17 years. Never married, of course, but that's not a problem. Until something happens, and suddenly words like unmarried, inheritance, and substantial tax bill enter the equation. You never need proper estate planning. Until you do. That's why the experienced team at McElhenney & Associates are here to help. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney & Associates Solicitors, Stranraer.
They say time equals money, so spend your money where you spend your time. No matter what your preference is, Cooney's Home Interiors has something to suit every taste and budget. With our extensive range of home furnishing to fit every room and style, from mattresses and beds to rugs, mirrors and suites of furniture. Visit us in store today and see for yourself what Cooney's have to offer, and let us help you make your dream home a reality. Cooney's Home Interiors, Letterkenny Retail Park. Huge range, great prices.
At iMotors, we've been on the road with you for generations. As your authorised Kia dealer, we believe in what Kia stands for: safety, style and reliability. And we're the same, committed to helping you move forward with confidence. Take a test drive and find out why iMotors is your #1 Kia dealer in Donegal. Visit us in Letterkenny, Malin Village or at imotors.ie.
iMotors, fearless generation.
It's here, it's now, it's Belfast. Come and celebrate creativity at Ireland's biggest community arts festival, Fela and Fubble. For country fans, Nathan Carter, the Whistling Donkeys, Lisa McHugh and more will be playing your favourite tunes at Country Fest on Saturday 2nd of August. Dance music more your thing? On Friday 8th of August, the legendary Fela Dance Night takes over Falls Park with acts including Dara and trance legend Paul van Dyk. Uncover it all at visitbelfast.com.
Hi Susie, is Amy me? An gálim the Iontas Micklein.
An bhfuil dinkum teilig faoi bhan céad agus cúig mhíle €10?
Tá sé.
No méid amháin. Détá a bheith a dedal takeíochta idir €200 agus oscian €10,200.
Tá tuig maga.
Ag lurig scéalta green.
Má tá dinkum teili faoi bhan céad agus cúig mhíle €10, détá a bheith i dedal takeíochta. Chun na ála macha bhfuil tú, féach Susie.ie. Curtha fáilda ag rialtas na hÉireann.
With back to school on the way, don't let blurry vision hold your child back. At Louis Walsh Opticians, there's a great offer of a second pair of children's glasses free. Yes, buy one pair of glasses and get a second pair free. Book your child's eye test today on 91 or call into Louis Walsh Opticians, your local family-run opticians in the Courtyard Shopping Centre, Letterkenny, to see the full range of glasses available. Some terms and conditions apply.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find amazing savings across our departments with up to 50% off your favourite brands in our summer sale. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
So, sunny spells and scattered showers to begin with today, some of them heavy. Showers will become increasingly isolated this afternoon with temperatures of 15 to 19 degrees with moderate to fresh west and northwest winds decreasing light to moderate later in the day. So it should be a nice evening, and we're still at that time of the year whereby when the sun's out, you can get the temperature, so to speak. So still pleasant enough weather out there, I think. Right, to some of your comments. Everyone is forgetting the point. The problem is that the government is not communicating with them what's happening. Another, fair play to Kim standing up for Ireland. Politicians selling out Ireland. Their cronies making millions off the back of it. And there are people making absolute millions, hundreds of millions off the back of iPass centres. That is an indisputable fact. Door is another word for house in colloquial language. My back door is my back garden, says a listener. What Mr. McMenamin is proposing is pure and simple intimidation, and I don't know any woman who's afraid to walk Swan Park from an Inishowen resident. Another, I think Kim hasn't a clue. He's going back on his story. Cut him off. Well, there's no point cutting people off. We have to have conversations. This is happening. And sort of, if you really don't like that it's happening, ignoring the people that are responsible for it doesn't in any way advance anything at all. I think Kim hasn't a clue. He's going back on his story, says another listener. Let me see. What an extremely threatening way to treat people. You are not protecting the community, Kim. You are creating fear. Who is this man? What he is explaining is stalking and harassment, all of which are illegal. Another fair play to Kim, exposing these businessmen that are housing foreign economic scammers that are bleeding the country dry and putting our women and children in very serious danger. 80% of Irish people want these places closed permanently and those people returned back to their own countries. Why bring Kim McMenamin on the airwaves? Well, I've explained that. It's happening, and this is happening, and people have been approached, and ignoring it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And not discussing it doesn't in any way, help the situation either. A caller says, the public have spoken clearly to say they don't want to listen to these arrogant people in the last election when he only got 544 first preference votes. Morning, Greg. I fully agree with Kim. My neighbours are being evicted and foreigners housed in their homes. Too many foreigners coming into this country. Thank you. Now, many people might agree with, because what we're actually talking about here is many people might agree that maybe Donegal, as I said to Kim, that Donegal has borne an awful lot of helping people fleeing international persecution, or whatever way you want to frame it, or fleeing the Ukrainian war. What we're actually talking about here is going to people's places of work and saying, we're going to photograph you and video and put you online, and if that doesn't work, we're going to call and protest outside your home. So, it's that element of it. Is that a bridge too far? I agree with this man. A lot of people getting rich on the back of this. Things have gotten so out of hand and everyone knows what's happening. Absolutely terrible. Donegal is the second highest number of people coming into this country. Greg, serious question. Have you travelled through Letterkenny, Dublin, Galway, etc. lately? The Irish people are becoming a minority in their own country and every service in the country is broken. So you think this country can still keep taking in the rest of the world? Just because I discuss something, just because I have a counterpoint to something, that does not mean that that is my point of view, just to be very clear on that. Kim is well able to come on to his point of view. I'm not a cheerleader, so I'm not going to bring anyone on, whether it's Kim or anyone. We're going to have a debate or a conversation and to tease out the issues. Then to challenge me to go and drive through Letterkenny and make a judgment call, that's not the point. The point is that we're having a debate on what he's doing, and just because I oppose his view or anyone's view, that is part of the process. Is Kim going to target people providing to the young people and families in the iPass centres? There is more of an intimidation than following the construction workers home. I think that Kim McMenamin is a hero and should be treated as such. There are 17 iPass centres in Letterkenny, 11 on the main street alone. Do people realise this? Kim, you stood in the local elections. The locals rejected you. You stood in the general election and Donegal rejected you. So you do not have a mandate. Another, I wonder what Kim does for a living. How can workers be asked not to go to work? That's pure bullying. Workers have bills to pay and have to feed their children. Some people are too busy working to stand outside and protest building sites. Another, Greg, Kim McMenamin does not represent the majority of people of Buncrana. He's only a handful of local followers. Make no mistake, Kim and his followers are racists. His hate speech are filtering into school. Well, he would argue very, very strongly that he's not a racist, that he doesn't care what the nationality of the people are or not, that he's it's more about the sort of safety and security of the area. But you're entitled to your opinion too. Well done, Kim. You have my vote next time. I've nothing but positive things to say about immigrants to Donegal. They work hard, they're polite and engaging, and they don't whinge and blame others. Another, Greg is being totally irrational. I agree the time for this insane immigration needs to stop. Unfortunately, this government is hell-bent on the destruction of the country. And then there's some other stuff that evokes different language that I just can't use at this time, but all your comments are read. Back with more after the news and obituary notices.
Milford Tiles, Milford Retail Park. Tiles, bathware and wood flooring. The best quality and value in the Northwest. Fully stocked and ready to go. Fitters and delivery available. 10% off for Mica affected customers. Don't forget to ask about our 5-day bathroom fit out. Call Milford Tiles on 083 091 0707.
Injuries happen, illness strikes, but waiting in A&E doesn't have to be your only option. At Ophidia Letterkenny Minor Injuries and Illness Clinic, we treat everything from broken bones, cuts, burns, infections, rashes and more, with X-ray on site so you get answers fast. No appointments, no delays, just expert care right when you need it. Don't wait. Walk in today or visit ophidia.ie. Ophidia Letterkenny. Expert care without the wait.
Nippy, fun and chic.
don't often describe insurance, but they perfectly fit the electric Fiat 500 you have the opportunity to win if you get a new car policy from On Post Insurance. For great cover at a great price and a shot at the Fiat 500, get a quote at onpostinsurance.ie. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply and are available at onpostinsurance.ie/promotions. Competition ends December 31st, 2025. One Direct Ireland Limited trading as On Post Insurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. One Direct Ireland Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of On Post.
It's the 2025 World Chip Sizzle Freestyle Contest, and Charlie's Chips are in the lead again. They're coming up to the finishing pan, and Charlie's Chips are the 2025 World Champions. Sourced locally, hand-cut and freshly cooked, served with mouth-watering burgers, fresh battered fish or delicious chicken, plus a great selection of gluten-free options. Open Tuesday to Saturday 12 to 8 and every Friday for breakfast from 9. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's on Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
It's final clearance time in the McElhinney's summer sale. It's your last chance to save up to 50% off your favourite designer brands in fashion, footwear, homeware and much more while stocks last. Discover unmissable deals in store or shop our top summer sale offers online at mcelhinneys.com today.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Enthus says figures released to the party show the extent to which patients who are clinically discharged from Letterkenny University Hospital have to remain in the hospital because there's nowhere for them to go. Letterkenny representative Mary T. Sweeney says the lack of home care packages or residential care are the main reasons why patients who should be at home are in fact stuck in hospital. On the 24th of last month, there were 31 such patients identified in Letterkenny and 29 in Sligo. Of those, 5 patients in Letterkenny had been there for between 4 and 6 months. Ms Sweeney says more investment in home care packages is vital.
The reality is no longer you have the traditional support of family in your neighbourhood, and everybody with families has so many responsibilities in their own rights, trying to maintain mortgages with many homes, both parents working and the younger generation not being able to give immediate support if you're not living close by. And the big solution is that the HSE need to take personal responsibility to employ their own staff in adequate numbers to facilitate patients going home.
More details and regional figures available on our website, highlandradio.com. The campaign movement to improve safety on the A5 says it remains confident the upgrade will go ahead. It follows confirmation that a High Court ruling against the current plan is to be appealed by Liz Kimmins, Stormont's infrastructure minister. Since 2006, there have been more than 50 deaths on the A5, which links Derry and Donegal with Auchnacloy in Tyrone. It forms a significant part of the route from the northwest to Dublin. Brendan Hurl from the Enough is Enough campaign says they're not giving up hope.
They're confident that the right people are in charge, and they've got the commitments from the department and everybody else that no stone will be left unturned and that the road will be built. And we are very, very optimistic.
A self-styled community activist and citizen journalist in Buncrana has defended a plan to protest outside the homes of people working on the development of an iPass centre at Walker's Lane in the town. Kim McMenamin says the centre, if completed, will put people in Buncrana at risk, and he believes it's imperative that the community be protected from that risk. On the 9 till noon show this morning, he told Greg Hughes that in the first instance workers will be identified and then asked to stop.
First of all, if you're working in a public place like Walker's Lane iPass Centre, you're going to be photographed and videoed first, right? You're going to be given a chance. You're going to be given a chance to desist from what you're doing. And if you continue to do that, the last thing we want to do is be outside people's houses. We don't want to take extreme measures against people. We don't want to. But look, this is an extreme situation.
Talks have been held overnight in a bid to secure the release of an Irish aid worker in Haiti. Gina Herity was kidnapped over the weekend from the orphanage where she works. With more, here's Stephanie Rowan.
Gina Herity is originally from Liscarney in Mayo, but has lived and worked in Haiti for over 30 years. On Sunday morning, a gang kidnapped her from the orphanage where she works, along with 7 other colleagues and a 3-year-old child. Taoiseach Simon Harris raised her case in a phone call with Haiti's Foreign Minister last night. He says the Minister said he'd support Ireland's efforts to ensure the safe release of Gina and the other hostages, and they'd stay in touch about the kidnapping, which remains extremely sensitive. The Taoiseach says Gina has undergone a horrendous ordeal, and it's been an extremely traumatic few days for her family. A special mass was held in Liscarney Mayo last night, praying for Gina's safe return.
A major overhaul of emergency responses to flooding and severe weather could be on the cards. Government is reportedly considering the rollout of permanent flood relief centres at key regional locations. The centres would store essential equipment such as generators and industrial pumps. Maynooth University climatologist Professor John Sweeney believes it's a good idea.
Obviously, as we now begin to approach the second anniversary of the flooding of Middleton and realise the cost of these storms, Storm Babette cost about 200 million euros, for example, to Ireland, we realise that any preventative measures that will alleviate flooding are going to be necessary as these events become more frequent and more severe in the years ahead.
Weather forecast: sunny spells and scattered showers this morning. Some of those showers heavy. They'll become increasingly isolated as the day goes on, in top temperatures of 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. Moderate to fresh west to northwest winds, decreasing light to moderate later in the day. Tonight, dry with variable cloud and clear spells. Lowest overnight temperatures 9 to 12 degrees Celsius. Light to moderate west to southwest breezes will fall, mainly light northwest or variable overnight. That'll allow some isolated mist patches to form around dawn. Dry tomorrow with spells of hazy sunshine to begin. Patchy light rain or drizzle possible from the afternoon. More persistent the further west you go in the evening. Highest temperatures on Wednesday 17 to 21 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. Back with more at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Tuesday morning, August 5th. The death has taken place of George McLaughlin, Legnahuri and Balladerg Letterkenny. George's remains will be reposing at Legnahuri from 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. today and from 12 noon until 10 p.m. tomorrow, with rosary both nights at 9 o'clock. Funeral from there on Thursday morning, 10:15, going to St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed live on churchservices.tv, followed by interment in St Eunan's Graveyard, Rafo. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Phyllis McDermott, née O'Kane, 45 Brayhead Road, Nixon's Corner, Derry. Phyllis's remains are reposing at her late home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning, 9:15 for Requiem Mass in St Columba's Church, Longtower at 10 a.m. Burial will take place immediately afterwards in the city cemetery. Phyllis's Requiem Mass can be streamed live on churchmedia.tv. Wakehouse private please from 10 o'clock tonight. The death has occurred of Phyllis Patton, née Gillespie, Gramesland, Castlefin, reposing at Lynch's Funeral Home, 50 Castlefin Road, Castlederg, today from 6 o'clock until 9 o'clock. A service of thanksgiving for the life of Phyllis will be conducted in the funeral home tomorrow at 12 noon. Interment afterwards in St Mary's Cemetery, Castlefin. The death has taken place of John Pat Gibbons, Rathmines, County Dublin, formerly of Ballymahy-Fanad, County Donegal. A funeral service will take place today at 12 noon in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Refuge of Sinners, Rathmines, County Dublin. John's remains will then travel to St Columba's Church, Massmount Fanad, County Donegal, arriving at 8 o'clock to repose overnight. Requiem Mass will be held at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to Merchants Quay Ireland or the Irish Lung Fibrosis Association, care of any family member. The service on Tuesday in Rathmines can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The Requiem Mass on Wednesday can be viewed on McAteer Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has taken place of Michael Mitchie Gallagher, Scotland and Kennelargy Downings. Funeral Mass today in the Church of St John the Baptist, Carrygart at 1 o'clock, followed by interment to Meva Cemetery. The death has taken place of Danny Kelly, Curran, Tyrman. Danny's remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning for Requiem Mass in St Columba's Church, Tyrman at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time from 11 p.m. tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only please, donations if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Charlie McClafferty Funeral Director. The death has taken place in Croydon, London, of Samuel Delap, formerly of Ballyconley, Milford, reposing at the residence of his nephew, Austin Delap, Auchnish, Ramelton, today from 1 p.m. until 10 p.m. Funeral service tomorrow at 2 o'clock in Ramelton Presbyterian Church, burial afterwards in Bank Cemetery. Family flowers only, donations if desired to Dementia Research UK. The death has taken place of Mary McBride Fenny Largan Ray Downings. Funeral this morning with 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in the Church of St John the Baptist, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Tar the Chrevig Flachol na Hayden La TG Cahed. Join us from Thursday to Sunday as we showcase the magic of the Fla live from 4 stages in the TG Cahed TV Village in Wexford. Fá blaise gon rágarne le plór na nálíntóirí as a tír seo agus haar sáile le chéile chun órain ceol agus damsa na Hayden a cheilúrab. Watch Ireland's best music spectacle, including live competitions on TG Cahed and tgcahed.ie.
Text or WhatsApp your view to Greg on 086 60 25,000.
Welcome back to the programme. It is the 9 till noon show. Coming up shortly, we've got the latest appeals and information from An Garda Síochána live, so stay tuned for that. That's after the next break. But some of your comments that have been coming in so far this morning, I must say it's been a very busy morning indeed. A caller says, Greg, Kim McMenamin represents a few ignorant people with anger management issues. He's a lone ranger trying to suggest the people of Buncrana are behind him. Buncrana would like Kim to leave. Who does he think he is? Let's get something straight. Kim is speaking the truth. Get these people out of our country and the government of Ireland with them and all the people who has them also. But the point being, again, sorry to go back to it, is whether or not you might have that opinion, but whether or not you think it's appropriate to tell people that if they work in or on an iPass centre, they'll be videoed or photographed, and those pictures will go online. And if they don't desist, then they'll be calling around to their homes to peacefully protest outside their homes. So it's the second part that's the crux of that conversation. I'm embarrassed to be Irish. People like Kim are spreading hate. He's a disgrace to the Irish people, says one. Another, I totally agree with Kim that enough is enough. Local elected reps and TDs are turning a blind eye to everything that's going on in our community to do with iPass centres. Kim is the only person trying to protect the community. I think Kim may be a bit extreme on this issue, but he's saying what more and more people are thinking. Irish citizens are afraid to go out for a walk in their own country. Most towns have experienced attacks with knives. Immigration has been turned into a very profitable business, and if the government don't act, then eventually the people will. There is a... so how do I say this? There is a perception, and some might say a reality, that, there's a massive peak in violent and sexual crime, and it's all down to people coming into the country. The truth is, obviously, those stories are the ones that are platformed and highlighted and talked about, but it's not necessarily reflective of what's going on. Just as the stories in the papers today of a gentleman taxi driver being attacked and it being framed as if the country's getting more and more racist, that also is not necessarily a reflection of exactly what's going on, but both sort of can speak to a perception. And there is a perception, certainly is, and we've spoke to people, that certain areas are people don't feel safe walking in them, particularly because the demographic of the population has changed. But that's also, if you look at the crime statistics, it's not necessarily evidence-based, it's a perception. But I'm not judging one way or other. As I say, these conversations, I'm of the view, and I may well be wrong, are far better being had out in the open because they're happening. They're happening in homes, they're happening on social media, and why shouldn't we be talking about them respectfully and actually having an exchange of views, but people are very polarised. Greg, there was always something like this going to happen. People are so fed up with the way this country is. We're finding it impossible to see a GP. School places and school transport are an issue, not to mention housing. So what is the answer to this problem? Our government have disowned us, and by doing so, they're encouraging the actions of Kim McMenamin and others. One, our young are leaving in droves because of the way our country is going. Just ask any young person. I will agree with one thing McMenamin said. As a woman, I'm more afraid to walk on my own. I agree with Kim about Buncrana. My children can't get a dentist. Good morning. Just listening to that discussion every time Kim is on your show, it is very clear Greg doesn't like him. It's very hard to listen to on the radio. I don't know Kim, but I'd like to listen to both sides of the conversation. Thank you. Well, I think you listened very much to one side, and most of it was Kim's. I have to be able to put in a counterpoint of view. The problem is that people don't like the way things have got now. People have got so extreme in their views that if they're challenged in any way, shape or form, even politely and in a rationed way, that people all of a sudden have a go at the other person. I don't agree with that, but I agree. I respect your point of view, and that's exactly why I read out your comment. Well done to Kim. Just read in the paper last week, Donegal's the second highest for taking in refugees. I think giving airtime to someone, says another, who's protesting the existence of human beings is abhorrent. Greg, you brought yourself to a new low today. You're supposed to be a voice for everyone. It's plain to see you don't like Kim. Poor show. Kim was on for 20 minutes and expressed every single point of view that he wanted. Listen, if we can't debate, right, like at the end of the day, even those that oppose the iPass centres, okay, and I'm speaking directly to this texter because, you know, we're so locked into our views, but even those that oppose iPass centres have to stop and think and say, right, is it appropriate to sort of say that eventually we might protest outside people's homes? That it doesn't matter. Even those in that space that are dead against iPass centres would have to stand for a moment and say, is the situation such that that is justifiable, or is this a step too far? You know, that's what we're discussing here. And me challenging Kim on his point of view is, I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I never once said he was wrong. I am engaging to try and find out the motivation behind it, and then to see what the public think about it. And that's that. How that you can draw from that, I don't know Kim McMenamin to dislike him. I can't dislike someone I don't know. We've had brief interactions and they've been relatively polite, and Sinead, that's it. Good morning, Greg. How would you call substances given for the termination of a pregnancy as medicine? This isn't medicine or shouldn't be labelled medication. Right, okay. Hi, Greg. Clonmany Festival is hard to beat. Some crowd around. You'll have to call it and see sometime. I would love to go to Clonmany. I really would. Especially whilst the festival is on. And we'll come back to more of the views on what we were discussing just there. But I do have to move on, but they're there and ready to go. A couple of other things. Let's say a few requests before the bingo numbers. Can you please say a big happy birthday to Jared Dixon from Carndonagh today, from wife Mary and daughter Grace. Love you loads. Oh, there you go, Gerald. You're a lucky man. You've already won the jackpot, the lotto, and I've got the best birthday present ever with your family. Please play a request for Barbara and Michael Coyle from Gortree, Newton. Wish them a very happy 30th anniversary today. Tell the two to enjoy their day from all the family. Thanks. Deirdre Deasley Tivokmoy in Ballabafay. Happy birthday, Deirdre. From your husband, James, Anya, James and Sinead. And would it be possible to get a mention for my niece and goddaughter Orla on the show today? She's over on holidays in Fanad with her family just now from Scotland. Today is exam results day in Scotland, and Orla was waiting on her exam results. She passed them all brilliantly, putting her one step closer to her goal of becoming an aircraft engineer. We're also proud of her. Love from Auntie Eileen, John, and all the gang back in East Kilbride. What a lovely bit of news to get whilst you're on a lovely holiday as well. Right, now, I want to mention or invite you to come and join. It's for free. On the 24th of August, this is a car show, an ethereal car show on the 24th of August at Snugborough, Letterkenny. That's just on the 4 lanes. It's a beautiful spot in there, actually, loads of space. So you're being invited to join them for a charity car show with 3 amazing trophies to be won. So if you love your cars and you love other people's cars, get out to Snugborough, the ethereal car show on the 24th of August. Now, the Harper family are very much in support of this. Of course, they lost their beautiful daughter Leona in the Creasla tragedy, and Donna Harper said, so come join us if you're free on the 24th of August. Donations on the day going to Critical Emergency Medical Responses, who were there on the 7th of October 2022 when 10 people lost their lives, including their beautiful daughter Leona. Just a little gesture to give back, help that these guys have helped so many other people on that dreadful day. So that's the Ethereal Car Show, 24th of August out at Snugborough. Go and look at other people's cars or get your car shined up and go and show it off. And there's prizes on the day too. So hopefully that will That will draw a huge crowd because it is obviously a very popular type of activity, but also it's for a really, really good cause.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday, the 5th of August. You're playing on the brown sheet for the daily prize of €600. The reference number is S17. It's game number 32. The numbers are 60, 86, 87, 4, 46, 21, 76, 72, 45, and finally 2. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
I'm Fionnuala Fibre O'Farrell Flynn, racing across the country to keep up with NBI's fibre rollout. Over 50 broadband providers are using NBI's network to bring high-speed fibre broadband to homes across Ireland. So from Ballyliffin to Ballybuffet, homeowners can pick whatever package suits their needs and still get all the benefits of rural Ireland's dedicated fibre broadband network. Connect at nbi.ie.
NBI is delivering the government's national broadband plan.
Another connection. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have worn heels.
If you're looking to refresh your home, visit Foy's Fabric Department in Letterkenny. We've got ready-made curtains, made-to-measure options, window blinds of every kind and so much more. From cushions and throws to upholstery fabrics, you can choose from top designer brands and get advice from our experienced interior design team. Style it your way with the Fabric Department at Foy's in Letterkenny.
Big Band Country Nights continue at Logues of Cranford this Tuesday with Mick Flavin and Brian Kerrigan and support from Jason McCahill. That's another Big Band Country Night Tuesday at Logues of Cranford. You'll also find music in the Wee Bar on Saturday and old-time dancing on Sunday.
The Community Garda information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, monitoring homes and businesses in the northwest for intruder, fire, panic and medical signals. Call Sheridan Security on 91
It is 20 minutes past 10. You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and it's time now for this week's Community Garda information. And I'm joined in studio by Garda Grania Doherty from Letterkenny Garda Station. Grania, thank you as always for calling up to us. How are you keeping?
Thanks for having me. Good morning to you, Greg.
Right, now, the first two appeals relate to road traffic collisions, and the first in Kerry-Keel.
Yes, Gardaí are appealing for witnesses following a two-vehicle collision in Kerry-Keel on Saturday the 2nd of August. So shortly after 10:45am, Gardaí and emergency services responded to this collision. It was on the R246 at Main Street, Kerry-Keel. The driver of one of the cars, a man in his 40s, was taken to Letterkenny University Hospital and he remains there receiving medical treatment. His passenger, a female in her late teens, did not require immediate hospital treatment. The driver of the second vehicle, a woman in her 70s, was taken to hospital for assessment. So we're appealing to anybody who may have witnessed this collision or who may have relevant camera footage, including dash cam, from that area around that time to come forward. Anybody with information is asked to contact Milford Gardaí on 9153060, the Garda Confidential line on 1800 666 111, or call into any Garda station.
Now, a road traffic collision, this time in Raphoe.
Yes, this collision happened on the R236 in the area of Tullyvinny, Raphoe, on Thursday the 31st of July at around 8:10pm. So a driver was travelling from the Convoy direction towards Raphoe at that location when a grey Peugeot van, which was travelling in the opposite direction, had veered over onto the wrong side of the road and collided with her car, causing damage to same. The driver of the van didn't remain at the scene. No injuries were reported, but we're appealing to anybody who may have observed this collision or who may have dashcam footage from that stretch of road around that time to make contact with Gardaí in Letterkenny on 9167100.
Now, moving on to a robbery in Mallintown, and obviously, you know, Gardaí very keen to find witnesses to this incident, but also maybe for business owners generally to prick up their ears in relation to this one.
Exactly, yeah, just to be aware even that this incident occurred and maybe to review security around their businesses. It's no harm. But we're appealing for the assistance of the public in connection with this robbery. It occurred at a business premises. It was in Mallintown, but the area is Carrowmore. On Wednesday, the 30th of July, at around 1:10 p.m, a lady entered a premises there. She interacted with a staff member before reaching into the cash register and stealing a sum of cash. She left immediately following the incident on foot. She's described as being in her late 40s with long black hair. She was wearing a long black dress, a denim jacket and sunglasses. So we're appealing to anybody who may have noticed this lady on foot in the area to make contact with Gardaí in Buncrana on 932 0540. And if anybody travelled within Malin Town with a dashcam, we're always appealing for the dashcam footage between 12:30 p.m. and 1:30 p.m. on that date. We're also asking them to make that footage available to us.
Yeah, early afternoon last Wednesday seems very distinctive.
And at a busy time of day, possibly lunchtime, a lot of people may be out on their lunch break, may have observed this lady, or perhaps she was in another business in the area, and if anybody observed her in the area at all, just we'd like to hear from them.
Okay, criminal damage now in Buncrana.
Yes, this incident happened on the Cockhill Road in Buncrana between 6 p.m. on Friday the 1st of August and 6 p.m. on Monday the 4th of August. So between those times, substantial damage was caused to the bus shelter at that location. Some of the glass of the shelter was shattered, and we're appealing to anybody who might be in a position to assist with relevant information to contact Gardaí in Buncrana on 932 0540.
Now, I don't know if it's random or coincidental, but another substation targeted in the county. I think there were two last week.
Two very recently. Yeah. So this substation was targeted a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half ago, at the Tobalurgy Brack, the substation for the ESB, and then over the Donegal Town direction also a substation was targeted within the last few weeks. So this is a criminal damage incident. This happened at the ESB substation at the Tobalurgy Brack between 3:30 p.m. on Monday the 28th of July and 4:15 p.m. on Tuesday the 29th of July. So a number of metal bars of the exterior fence were cut between those times. It's not believed that any entry was gained to the yard and nothing was stolen from the yard. We're just appealing to anybody who might have witnessed any type of activity, suspicious activity around that substation at the Tobalurgy Brack between those dates to contact Gardaí on Letterkenny on 9167100.
And depends on how they attack that fence, it's going to create noise or light. So hopefully someone spotted something and can pass on that information to Gardaí. We'll head to Key Street, Donegal Town next.
Yes, this is another criminal damage incident happened in the early hours of Sunday the 3rd of August at around 2:50 a.m. in the area of Key Street in Donegal Town. So a man was sitting in his parked car at that location. He could hear a man behind his car who had started to shout. The shouting male then proceeded to punch the rear windscreen off the car, causing it to smash. So if anybody witnessed this incident, we're asking them to contact Ballyshannon Gardaí on 071 985 8530, and as with every incident, dashcam footage is invaluable to our investigation. So if anybody was in that area around that time with a dashcam, we'd like to hear from them also.
Again, this is another incident that potentially could be framed as road rage or something in that space. It's not the first in the last couple of weeks. I hope people are aware that these type of interactions are crimes. You know what I mean? And we certainly don't want to see a trend growing. Yeah,
of course not. No.
Right. Okay. So let's go to Ballyliffin now. Criminal damage there.
Yeah, this is quite an unusual one and rather a frightening one also for the occupants of this. It's in relation to a motorhome. This criminal damage incident, it occurred at the Shore Road in Ballyliffin at around 4:40 a.m. on Sunday the 3rd of August. So a motorhome was parked up in a car park at that location and damage was caused to it. A passenger in the car, a wrench was thrown from the passenger side of that car in the direction of the motorhome and struck the window of the motorhome and damaged it. So we're appealing to anybody who might have been in the area of the Shore Road, Ballyliffin, in the early hours of Sunday the 3rd of August with a dashcam preferably, to make contact with Gardaí in Buncrana on 932 0540. And the Garda Confidential line, as with all of our incidents today, they can be reached on 1800 666 111.
So a motorhome that's not like a towing caravan. That's where it's all sort of self-contained accommodation. So presumably people may well, if they weren't, be inside. I mean, that's horrendous to be the victim of, but incredibly dangerous.
Of course, just mindless behaviour, really.
Isn't it? Yeah. Well, I'm saying that. Obviously, I'm not putting those words in your mouth. Right. HHC. I'm not even going to try this one.
So I'll give it a go.
Okay.
But no. This so the semi-synthetic cannabinoid, it's hexahydrocannabinol. It's now categorised as a Schedule 1 controlled drug under the Misuse of Drugs Act 1977. So the importation, exportation, production, possession, sale or supply of any products containing HHC is now illegal. It's against the law. It had been, up until this, it had been sold in shops and online, you know, in vapes and oils and edibles. And
it just hadn't been categorised yet, even though the concerns were there.
Yeah, so it had been widely on the spray, you know, it was on the market available for people to buy. So we just want to draw people's attention to this change in the law to make them aware that HHC products are now illegal. HHC, it has effects similar to cannabis and it can be harmful, especially for young people. Please be aware, if you are found in possession of HHC, you are at risk of prosecution. So we just want to make business owners aware, if you have HHC products currently in stock in your business or even in your own personal possession, contact us, contact any of your local Garda stations immediately and we can arrange to take these products in as they are now
So it's not
illegal.
effectively like going, oh, right, okay, I'll clear the stock and then this is now a prescribed illegal drug and you need to be contacting Garda if you have a stock of it.
Exactly, yeah. So there's no problem there, but do contact us if you have it in stock so we can make sure that it's disposed of in the correct manner, yeah. So the HHC is chemically like THC. It's designed to imitate the effects of THC, and that is the main psychoactive substance found in cannabis that produces the high, you know. So HHC and similar products are now subject to the same laws as cannabis and other illegal drugs. So if anybody wants further information in relation to this law change, we have details on our Garda Facebook page, and they can also visit the HHC or the HSE website, There's a lot of details in relation to HHC, and I believe that maybe a lot of young people, I have heard and have read up on it, that a lot of young people maybe now have found themselves addicted to this substance, you know.
For sure, it's popping up.
For parents maybe and guardians, just to go to the HSE website and have a read about HHC and its you know, the symptoms and all associated with it, and just how to speak to their young people about it and the dangers associated with it also.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Now, Clonmany Festival, very, very busy. The Clonmany Agricultural Show on as well, August 5th, August 6th, that's today and tomorrow. And Garda Síochána will be there.
Yes, so the Gardaí from the Community Policing Unit in Buncrana will be there. They'll have an information stand today and tomorrow at the Agricultural Show in Clonmany. They just wanted us to draw our attention to let the public know that they're going to have child safety wristbands at their stand this year. I believe every year, and no more than any other festival, I'm sure, in the country, children go missing. They go AWOL, they lose, you know, they get separated from their parents or whatever, and that's terribly frightening. You know, it's
horrible.
It's a horrible feeling.
Even in
a panic
the supermarket, like, well, when they're a bit younger, you know, if they just slip your hand and run in the supermarket.
Definitely. They feel a panic.
Yeah, so can you imagine then in a outdoor setting with loads of people
like that,
about?
Yeah. So these bands will be given to the parents. They write their contact details on it, you know, their mobile phone number. So look, in the unfortunate event that a child does become separated from their family, at least we can contact them immediately. You know, it'll lessen the time frame between which they would have found them
at
ordinarily.
that show, I think some of the women might need them for their fellas as well.
They could come in handy for people of all ages.
Where's he gone now? He's bought a link box. Yeah, no, it's a good idea, and those wristbands then are useful even if you go on holidays or something. It's not just specific for that show, presumably. It's a good idea.
It's not, and actually they would have they would have sheets, the tear off sheets.
Oh,
so
right, okay.
if anybody wanted to take a few extra with them, as well as you say for holidays or things like that, I'm
or
sure
even
they'll
a busy
be happy
local
enough.
beach. It's crazy how all of a sudden. You know, you want people to be able to walk 10 feet away from you, but it's amazing how quickly someone can get lost in the crowd. Okay, it's a really good idea, and it's going to be a really good show as well, and the weather is going to be great for it as well too. It didn't look like that yesterday, but certainly is now. Garda Grania, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. It's always great to have you on the show. And that's everything, isn't it? We've done everything.
That's everything, yeah.
Okay, that's Community Garda information for this Tuesday, the 5th of August, 2025. It will be available on our podcast around about 12:30, and not long thereafter, I promise, on our social media and on Garda Síochána. They're a very useful Facebook page, and go to that actually, Gran. You just give that a plug because there's a wealth of info on that. Now, it's very important to note that it's not for reporting an emergency or crime or what have you, but it is a resource that you work very, very hard on. So when we're talking about stuff like HC or other matters, there's lots of detail there for the public.
There is, of course, and I'm glad you mentioned that just as well. The facility is there to private message our Garda Síochána Donegal Facebook page. Now, I do post every so often to let people know that it's not a means of reporting matters or, you know, incidents that require further investigation. Now, unfortunately, some people do still reach out to the page and report matters via the private message the page, but just for people to be aware that it's not to be used for that purpose. You know, if you wish to report an incident that will require further investigation, you'll need to contact the Garda station directly.
And because you can't monitor a Facebook page all of the time, it's not out of want, it's just a reality. Okay, Gráinne, thank you very much for your time. Back with more after the break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Má tá tú idir chuigení agus 7 bliain díos, joí tú cuireadh scág hástáil potóige báilíon HSE siar an aisce íonna. Cabhraíonn an scág hástáil le cóirí luadáil se potóige aimsiú, solamíonn aon symptom le feiceáil agus bíonn sin níos fosa í a chóireáil chomhár.
Nutria's Weanling Crunch is on promotion at your local Homeland. Buy 10 bags of Nutria's Weanling Crunch ATP and get one free, or €15 off per tonne in bulk. The Nutria's Beef ATP pack enhances animal performance through maximising rumen efficiency. T's and C's apply. For product details, contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist, or see nutrias.ie.
Make the most of the last weeks of summer at Century Complex. Enjoy blockbuster movies, indoor soft play, thrilling crazy golf and delicious family meals all under one roof. Rain or shine, there's fun for everyone this August. Century Complex, perfect for keeping the kids entertained whatever the weather. Visit centurycinemas.ie for more information.
Tonight at the 56th Clonmany Festival from 7 there's Olivia Douglas, and at 9 it's Mike Denver. Tomorrow Wednesday catch the High Flying Paddies and the Tumbling Paddies. See clonmanyfestival.com for details.
Claire usually hates being the vegetarian at the barbecue, but not today. Because she's been to Aldi and picked up some delicious West Cork Irish buffalo mozzarella, which she thinks looks quite pretty beside the plum tomatoes and fresh basil. So she's taking a satisfied sip of her tasty, specially selected fresh lemonade. Rain may be forecast, but her plate is a little ray of sunshine. It's enough to turn a meat eater's head. Good food, good mood. From Aldi.
Náidé mail nuair a oinn tú de chuireadh chun scág hástáil potóige íonna. Glíorainn ar a 8 a náid a 45 a 45 a 55. nó túr cuairt ar bowlscreen.ie. Own HSE.
Now we're in studio with Caitlin Warren, who is an autism advocate, and she's got her own podcast now on her personal experience with having autism and raising awareness on the issue, and we'll point you in the direction of that as this item goes on. But it's also good to reach different audiences, and we're in the sort of scheduled radio space now. Caitlin, thanks so much for calling in. How are you keeping?
Good, yeah.
Your experience with autism, when did this become clear to you that this was part of your life, and how did that unfold for you?
I suppose it's like always been there. Like it was in like early primary school I was diagnosed with it, but I was generally unsure of it, of what it was and all, and how it affected me, and like why it made me so different, because there wasn't as many resources as there was today. And then it became more clear when I got older, and there's like other stuff that you had to handle, like going into secondary school and things like that.
And in terms of yourself, you talked of feeling different. Is it that you felt that, right, I'm not the same as her, or I'm not the same as him? I don't know how you deal with that as a very young person, but can you sort of explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's like to do with masking. So it's called it's when you like mask your autistic traits to fit more into society. But as I like got older and like learned more about it, I realized that you don't have to do that, and you can just be yourself, and there's literally no harm in that, and you shouldn't have to feel that you have to hide yourself to other people's expectations, because expectations will always fluctuate and things like that. So there's no point in trying to keep up with that.
But as a very young person in primary school, right, firstly, you're dealing with the challenges having autism might be, but then the next level of energy that's required to try and mask it and to fit in and to be normal, in inverted commas, like it must have been exhausting and a great deal of pressure on you as a young person.
Yeah, it really is exhausting for a lot of people, and it's just that that like extra pressure of like having to conform to things, like even just minor things like, oh, I should speak like this, I should walk like this, I should sit like this so people like me, but you really don't have to do that.
So you're constantly mimicking, and you're constantly sort of trying to be something that you're not, which is again, over time, that must just be really, really tough to put in. Is it easy for you to identify the characteristics that you were masking as a much younger person? I mean, you're only 17 now, right? But I mean, I'm just trying to sort of get an understanding of what it's like for someone much younger in the school setting. So what would your traits be?
Some traits would be like stimulating, like that's a variety of things that someone could do. Like I would like pace around when I'm explaining something, or like fidget with my hands and things, and some people would think, oh, that's like pretty unprofessional, so I'd like try and not do that, even though it's like a habit and you can't really, it's how you emotionally regulate, so you kind of have to do it as an autistic person.
Yeah, so that's how it helps you process and think, but you're also trying not to do it, but articulate yourself as well.
Yeah.
All right, really interesting. What kind of supports did you get as a young person with autism? There are greater supports now, but what help did you have to try and maximize your potential?
I had the support from all my loved ones, and I had counselling and things like that. And it was kind of like a big thing because autism is a spectrum and all that, and it's different for everyone. Like even now, like one of the main reasons that I do what I do in my advocacy efforts is that because it's so broad, some people, like, there's many misconceptions. Like even some people still say things like, oh, everyone's a little autistic, even though that's a misconception, and things like, oh, you're not like my little niece who has autism, so you don't have it.
Yeah, and you don't have a bit of autism. If you've got autism, you've got autism. It just depends on how it impacts you. What's perfectionist issues?
That was to do with in school, I would be like, oh, if I got 9 out of 10, I focus on like the 1 out of 10 that I got wrong and things.
So again, that's putting you under undue pressure as well, and your sensory issues as well. Now, as you quite rightly pointed out, these might impact different people in different ways. But just for you in the school setting, what was that?
It like impacts everyone in a variety of ways depending on the person. Like I would have to myself, I like prefer like wearing comfy clothes and like having my hair out of my face because I have pretty thick hair, so I don't like the kind of weight of it over my face and things.
And it's a little bit beyond it's annoying. It would annoy you on a different level, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you faced your challenges in your primary years and you met them, but then you get into that difficult time of the early teens, which is difficult anyway, I think more so for girls than boys, but also you're going from maybe a school setting that you've become familiar with into a different setting. So what was your early teenage years like?
It was like a variety of different things going on. Like obviously it gets harder when you go into secondary school and like junior cert and like other aspects of your life, like your hobbies and your friends and everything changing just in general because you're a teenager and in that state of mind where things are constantly changing around you because the secondary school is such a broad thing, and it's like hard because me and like many other autistic people like can't handle change well, and like that pressure along with having to mask and things like that, it's a whole weight that you have to carry, really.
But then there is opportunities as well because you are open to a broader range of people. People from all different areas sort of come to the one school, and you go from having potentially when I left 6th class, I think I had 5 classmates and walked into a year of hundreds. It was really quite the awakening. But did you have an opportunity then to engage people that you felt that got you on a different level?
Yeah, at the moment I have a good circle of friends and I have a really nice partner as well, and like they appreciate me for who I am and all my advocacy efforts as well. And the people I was friends with as well are just really supportive of the things I do and like appreciated when I was more myself rather than like trying to mask myself.
Indeed. And just in terms of coming to terms with having autism and not seeing it as but just simply coming to terms with it, not seeing it as a negative or however you felt it was. When did that happen? And how does it make you feel that, you are who you are and autism is part of you and you wouldn't be the person you are without it to some extent.
Yeah, like really does affect your life, but then again, it's kind of a mix of things. Like you shouldn't be defined for it as well. Like it's an aspect of who you are, and it's a lifelong condition, so it won't go away. Like I've managed to manage it better in like certain circumstances where I wouldn't have before, and it was obviously very progressive and small steps. I didn't just manage it overnight, like things that I'm up to at the moment, like I'd be driving or at work and things, and it's even though it could be hard at first, I wouldn't like give up on things and just try and manage it as best I can, even when it was overwhelming. And then I'd think back that my younger self wouldn't be able to handle it, and it's just that progression that like anyone with like problems can do as well. It's obviously not an easy road to go down, but when you have that support from people around you and you just believe in yourself, you can do it then.
Yeah, and language is very important, I think, right? So say, for instance, you're a teenager, okay? So are you an autistic teenager? Are you a teenager who is autistic, or you're a teenager with autism? Does it matter? Because I hear these different phrases from people even working in this space, right? So it's not people who aren't affected by it. So like how is language important, and how would you describe yourself in that regard?
I don't think it matters if you say like you have autism, you're autistic, or you have it. I think there's some outdated terms. I spoke about this on my podcast before, that some people still say. It's obviously not as used before, but there's better diagnostic tools and resources, and I obviously plan to contribute to those resources. But sometimes people still say like, oh, they suffer from autism when they just have it, or they say Asperger's, or they have high support or low support autism, which are outdated terms that are no longer widely used as well.
Yeah, and it's that word suffering. It's kind of interesting because it's not just in the world of autism. Like I've known people with cancer that would not like to be described as suffering from cancer. It's funny how people are different, and you know what's acceptable and non-acceptable language. Right, so in your podcast, you've already touched on their language, which I think is really, really quite important. So what other sort of, I don't know how many episodes in are you at this point? How many episodes have you done?
I've made 5 so far.
5. And do you pick a different, and I look forward to listening to some of them, do you sort of, what's the style of the podcast?
So far my first episode was just an introduction about myself and like why I have my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was like what is autism in like the simplest words I could do. I think the third one was masking. I think the fourth one was about outdated autistic terms and myths, and then I think my latest one was actually about masking. I forget what the third one is, but I like pick a topic because autism is such a broad term, and I just like kind of focus on that and say, we're going to talk about this today and what is this, and then like explain it in different contexts. And like sometimes I apply my own experiences, like how's my experience with this.
And I think your audience, and as I say, I haven't listened to it, but I already know. I'm just thinking too, sometimes maybe parents who've got a recent diagnosis of autism for one of their children, to sort of have an understanding of exactly what we're talking about, but also to, you know, maybe if parents sort of have a pre-listen and they've got a 7 or 8 year old child who's experienced, it's a great conversation starter for mums and dads and guardians. And then also to, you know, you're at a level of acceptance and you know where you're at and you're strong in that, but there's going to be other people older than you or the same age that maybe need to listen and go, you know, what can I learn from this? What more can I understand about myself? So it's covering lots and lots of different bases, Caitlin, I think.
Yeah, it's like autism is such a broad term, and someone came to me before in an event and said like, I think my niece or my sister or whoever was diagnosed with it recently, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can. And because it's such like a spectrum and a broad term, it's like kind of overwhelming to approach, so I try and like minimize it as much as possible. Like it's like a dictionary essentially. Like I'll have a episode on each term, like whether it's masking or stimming or like special interests and things, so it's like kind of minimized down so people can understand it both in like an easy term to understand, but also from a person who has autism, and has that first-hand experience, and people can get comfort from knowing that there is a person who's like experienced that thing.
Yeah, for sure. But it's not just the podcast. You used your time during transition year to raise awareness. You're also, I think it's really important too, to get different voices on the Donegal Youth Council. You've also been nominated onto it. So it's not the pod. You've also used your TY time, and of course to try and influence up the line into council about autism.
Yeah, I've done a few like advocacy efforts, and I like to keep on top of that, specifically with my ongoing podcast now. And if when I get those opportunities, I take it because it is such like an important thing, and that the fact that I like to be living proof as well that like autistic people can achieve and do those things and do many other things that some people don't think they can do, because there is still a lot even like in this year there's still misconceptions about things like, oh, autistic people are unable to do this or can't do that. But I like to kind of prove them wrong, if you will. Like even though it is hard, I can do things like I can do my driving lessons, and I can work regularly, and I can try my best to learn in a school environment when school is like an overwhelming environment in general for people.
But there can be advantages as well to having autism. I mean, some people describe it as my superpower. I've heard that reference, and that's their words and their experience. But I presume in certain elements of life, it could even be down to driving lessons or what have you, that that elements of you it's a benefit.
Yeah, in some elements it can be a benefit. Like when I'm really interested in something, I can learn information off easily, and
you go deep dive. Yeah,
I can have a good memory in some aspects or know where to go in certain things. Like my actual podcast name is a pun because it's called the Neurodivergent Navigator, and I said that because I navigate people to like a resource that they can use, but also because when I'm on holidays with my family, I'm really good at using the Google Maps.
That's all right. Brilliant stuff. Well done. And you've had really good feedback to the podcast as well too, which is nice. We all like a bit of positivity.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for all the support and the love and the feedback I've gotten, that people say like, oh, it's like really good, and that that it is an important thing to talk about, even like today when people assume that there are those resources, but it can still be overwhelming to like find those in such a broad disorder.
Yeah, for sure. Now, are all the episodes video podcasts as well, are they? So where can people find them? What's your social media handle, Caitlin?
Yeah, on Spotify it's in an audio format, but on my social medias, my TikTok, my Instagram, my Facebook, I put it in a video with closed captions on the side, so if like potentially someone could like not be able to listen to something at the moment, or even that accessibility for like deaf people, they can see it and just read the text to see what I'm saying, or like if I mispronounce something or I said something wrong, they're like, oh, she meant this, so it's okay, and just having that accessibility for everyone so it's as widespread as possible.
And the name of your accounts, is it Caitlin Warren, or have you got a specific account?
I have my TikTok that it's neuro_nav, and I have
NeuroNav. That's okay. That's easy to remember.
I have my Facebook and my Instagram. My Instagram is neurodivergent 2_ and navigator.
Okay, so find one of those and it'll redirect you to your preferred platform. And just going forward as a world, Caitlin, what do you think needs to change? I suppose that the world's more inclusive for everyone, not just people with autism. But is it understanding? Is it patience? Is it respect? Is it equal treatment? Is it all of that?
I think it's an aspect of all of that. Like, I would honestly prefer, like, when I tell people that I am autistic, instead of them saying, instead of them like bending over backwards to find ways to support me, they'd be like, it's just easier and like more like inclusive really to say you're different and that's okay. Like, you can do things, you can achieve things, rather than saying, oh, what does this mean?
Straight to the negative.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, to not presume it. to not presume that it makes you a lesser person, and that you, in some way, you need to, rub the top of your head or whatever it might be. Yeah. Okay. All right, Kate, and listen, well done to you. It's amazing to get one episode of a podcast up and running, to have 5 there, to make them visual as well, outside of the Spotify platform, and to have that accessibility for people too if they can't hear. I think it's great. Keep doing what you're doing and stay in touch with us in any way we can help you. And best of luck. Educationally now, you're going into 5th year, are you?
I go into 6th year.
6th year, okay. How was 5th year?
5th year is good. It's when I manage my things better, and it was just easier.
But you're growing up as well all the time. You're becoming a mature person as well, and able to process things better and understand things better as well. Not just, I don't mean the educational side of it, but just us. It's a tough old time getting to know yourself as well. But you're doing a brilliant job, Caitlin. Thank you so much. Obviously, I hope you're very proud of yourself. You should be, and your family and partner as well. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, and we'll post some links on our Facebook page as well if you want to catch up on any of Caitlin Warren's podcasts.
Highland Bakery brings the magic to your morning tea break. Golden scones, still warm, soft in the middle and impossible to resist. Look for the packet with the rabbit on it. Fresh from the oven to your local shop. 25 years of Highland Bakery.
Your next new car is waiting at Manor Motors, your Opel dealer in Donegal. This 252, get a €1,000 trade-up booster on any Opel model and enjoy 2.52% finance. Choose from the bold new Corsa, stylish Astra, eye-catching Mokka, or all-new Grandland. Available in petrol, diesel, hybrid and electric. Don't miss out. Visit Manor Motors in Manor Cunningham or see manormotors.ie. Manor Motors, your trusted Opel dealer in Donegal.
Since I switched to Hidden Hearing, I can hear it all. You could save up to €3,000 off invisible hearing aids. Save when you switch to us, upgrade, or save on your very first hearing aids. Pre-phone 1-800-370-000. Switch and save at hiddenhearing.ie. You should go to the hearing experts. T's and C's apply.
Join me, Marty Free, listen every Friday night from 8 for Rocket Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7 Letterkenny. Try their new interactive dartboards with lots of games that all the family can play. See arena7.ie.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find amazing savings across our departments with up to 50% off your favourite brands in our summer sale. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
A big well done to Caitlin once again. Lovely to have her in studio and to meet her. And check out our socials and we'll link hers alongside a little picture of me and Caitlin on our Highland Hub webpub page, Facebook page. Right. Today, now let's talk about the afternoon. Any showers will become increasingly isolated. Temperatures 15 to 19 degrees with moderate to fresh winds, but they're going to ease during the day, which is good, isn't it? Coming up after 11, I'm going to speak to Minister of State for European Affairs, Thomas Byrne. He's talking about some initiatives. We'll touch on some of the other topics of the day as well. That and so much more besides. We love your comments. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening, but also engaging. You don't have to, but it's lovely when you do. You can WhatsApp and text 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or if you prefer to pick up the phone, 07491 25,000, and email us at comments@highlandradio.com. It's always good to get your emails as well. And many of you there's a conversation raging on our socials as well at the moment. People between Facebook and YouTube interacting on the very sensitive and controversial topic that we focused on in the first hour of the show. So feel free to hop on there and have that conversation as well.
How we use electricity can be smarter, cleaner and greener. At Electric Ireland, we can help guide you there. Our Net Zero Hub has all you need to know about smart meter plans, home EV chargers, solar panels, heat pumps and much more. making your usage clearer, your trips greener, your home cozier, and your world brighter. Find our Net Zero hub at electricireland.ie.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Halliford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Halliford.
Make a splash with Aura Leisure Swim Academy. Our fun, friendly children's swim lessons teach a lifelong skill in a safe and supportive environment. Give your child confidence in the water and in life. Find us at 10 convenient locations across Ireland, including Aura Letterkenny. Visit auraleisure.ie/swim to dive in today.
Why leave the magic moments and great scenes you've captured sitting on your phone when you can have them printed at McGee's Chemist? Using McGee's website or one of their in-store kiosks, you just upload your photos, select the ones you want, and have them printed instantly within an hour, or use the 24-hour service. 35mm and film from disposable cameras also printed, and old photos can be digitally restored. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
At Restex Beds, we are celebrating 50 incredible years in business. And we are introducing our brand new Glenveigh mattress, comfort that's as legendary as our half-century legacy. Experience 50 years of bedding excellence at Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Restex Beds, leave the rest to us.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's 11 o'clock and it's time for a news update. And we say good morning once again to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Gardaí are appealing for information about 2 road collisions in recent days. The first involving a car and a van which left the scene happened at Tullyvinny-Raffo on Thursday last. The second involving 2 cars happened in Kerrykeele on Saturday. Full details on that and all the rest of today's stories, of course, on our website, highlandradio.com. Aintree says figures released at the party show the extent to which patients who were clinically discharged from Letterkenny University Hospital have to remain in beds there because there's nowhere for them to go. Letterkenny representative Mary G. Sweeney says the lack of home care packages or residential care are the main reasons why patients who should be at home are in fact stuck in hospital. On the 24th of last month, there were 31 such patients identified in Letterkenny and 29 in Sligo. A group campaigning for improvements to safety on the A5 says it remains confident the road upgrade will go ahead. It follows confirmation that a High Court ruling against the current plan is to be appealed by Stormont's Infrastructure Minister. Since 2006, there have been over 50 deaths on the A5. The ESP substation at Lurgy Brack has been targeted once again between 3:30 on Monday last and 4:15 the following day. Metal bars of the exterior fence were cut. However, it's not believed entry was gained. Gardaí are asking that those who believe they witnessed anything or have any information to get in touch. The previous week, a number of metres of copper wire had been stolen from the same area. A motorhome parked on the Shore Road in Ballyliffin was damaged in the early hours of Sunday morning last, and approximately 20 to 5 in the morning, a wrench was thrown from the passenger window of a passing car. It struck the motorhome's window. Gardaí urging anyone with dashcam footage to come forward. And a self-styled community activist and citizen journalist in Buncrana has defended a plan to protest outside the homes of people working on the development of an iPass centre at Walker's Lane in the town. Kim McMenamin says the centre, if completed, will put people in Buncrana at risk, and he believes it's imperative that the community be protected from that risk. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Thank you so much, Donald.
Summer's here! Yay! So it's time to stock up on sun protection at Aldi. There's something for everyone, like Lacora SPF 50 Plus Kids Roll-On at only $3.49. SPF 30 Dry Mist Spray for $3.99. And After Sun with Soothing Aloe Vera at just $2.49. All water resistant and dermatologically tested. So spread the word. And the sun cream while stocks last.
OK, we're joined on the programme now by Minister of State for European Affairs, Thomas Byrne. Deputy, thank you. Minister, thank you so much for your time. How are you keeping?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's a lovely day here in Meath. I hope it's similar in Donegal after the bad weather of the
Yeah,
weekend.
it's catching up. It's catching up. All right, a big year for us, Ireland in the EU. We're assuming the EU presidency in less than 12 months, which means, I suppose, with your portfolio, it's a big year for you too.
Well, look, it's a big year for the country, I think. We're going to take over the presidency of the Council of the European Union in the second half of next year. That's a big moment. There's also a lot of work in the run up to it. And we'll give an opportunity for the country, first of all, to be driving the EU agenda, which I think is really, really important for us. But also, I suppose, showing people what we can do as a country as well. I think that's really, really important for so many other reasons as well, including reputational and just trying to show that we are a country that can do things well. I think that's super important.
We're going to talk a bit too about the Communicating Europe initiative. There is a pot of funding there, and it has an important job. Talk to me about it.
Well, look, it's a fund that we have that community groups can apply for, and that who want to drive local projects, essentially schools. In fact, some radio stations have applied for funding in the past and got funding in the past. Community groups to run events around communicating what the European Union is about. Now, we've announced the awardees today. Now, there were no applicants from Donegal. Every applicant around the country, actually, except one, actually succeeded in getting funding. So I'd be really hopeful that organisations in Donegal will apply when we announce the next round of funding, probably towards the end of the year. But that is an important fund. But we're just trying to highlight what the European Union is, what it's about, and to allow communities to take ownership of that.
Do you think there still is a detachment from Europe amongst some, or at least a lack of understanding how everyday life is often impacted by decisions that are taken in Europe? I mean, obviously people would be acutely aware, say, for instance, in this part of the world, Thomas, without getting into the debate, about, say, for instance, some negative impacts on the fishing industry or matters like that. But do you think maybe the public, there's a lack of understanding of maybe what benefits might be there, or how there are ongoing sort of positive influences?
Well, I'd never accuse the public of a lack of understanding, that's for sure. The public understand things often better than the politicians. But what I would say about Brussels is that, Letterkenny is the same as Brussels. It's part of the European Union. There are, MEPs elected from all over Ireland. There are governments who go to the Council of Ministers who are represented from all over Ireland. Essentially, it's a democracy. And what I think is the most important thing is to remember that the people that we see and know in the European Union are different from the institutions that they work in. So the European Parliament is really, really important as an institution. And then it's up to us to elect the people. And the same for the Council of Ministers. That comes from the governments of the European Union. We elect the governments in our democracies. The Commission, again, is appointed by the government. So all of this goes back to the people. And I think it's really, really important that people take ownership of it, value the institutions of the European Union, because, with one or two exceptions, and you've named fisheries, but overall, this has been a remarkably positive journey for Ireland over the last number of years. And specifically at this time, we're trying to encourage people to get jobs within the European Union set up, and that is in Brussels or Luxembourg or Strasbourg, or indeed in Dublin and other parts of the European Union as well, that there are jobs. Because we want to make sure that we have as many Irish people as possible working there. That's been made, I should say, first of all, the numbers of Irish people have gone down in recent times. So that's important for us to change that. But it's been made a bit easier since the Irish language has been made an official language of the European Union. And I can go to meetings in Brussels or Luxembourg, use Irish. There are huge opportunities in the European Union for Irish people to get really good jobs. And by and large, doing really, really good work, important work, really for the benefit of humanity. When you think of consumer protection, when you think of environmental protection, when you think of what the European Union is doing, by and large, it is very much to the good.
We'll talk about potential careers in Europe in a moment, but if there are any voluntary organisations, educational bodies, or any sort of projects, I presume they have to have a pro-European angle, Thomas. That would be...
Well, we can't decide on politics, but it is about communicating the European Union. So people should apply.
How do they do so?
The next round will be announced towards the end of this year,
All right, okay.
and be strong. and strongly encouraging organisations in Donegal to apply for funding.
What kind of jobs will be available through the EU General Recruitment Campaign, which is due to open this autumn? You mentioned, maybe the opportunity for people to use their Irish language, and of course, there's a big cohort that might apply to in our part of the world here in the Northwest. But what kind of experience is required? What kind of jobs do you see popping up?
Well, the jobs pop up in the most extraordinary places. So first of all, there's obviously general civil servants who do a huge amount of work in very general areas, but there are also specialists there as well. So scientists, pharmacists, doctors, engineers, agronomists, like agricultural scientists, because obviously the common agricultural policy is so important. And it's surprising when you find the range of employment there. There are obviously a lot of lawyers, a lot of economists in the European Union, but there's also general entry as well. And one of the key things by getting a job is language skills. So we obviously speak English, which is an official language of the European Union. Many speak Irish, which is an official language of the European Union. And if you have other language skills, and I mean working language skills, so language at a high level, I think that's a huge advantage. And I think this is a message I want to get out to people as well, that notwithstanding AI, notwithstanding all of the automation that's there, genuine language skills, the ability to work in other languages is something that's really, really important. And if there's any school children or their parents listening, it is so important to maintain those skills. And that will be true into the future. There's no question about that. Yeah. And that's something where we perhaps fall down on slightly.
Closer to home, I think the autumn in the Dáil, one of the big issues is going to be the triple lock, and you'll have plenty to say on that, I am sure. There's a lot out there at the moment. I think your party or the government's accused Sinn Féin of fear-mongering and using misleading and incendiary comments. I presume that is in the space of the triple lock debate. You're in favour of its adjustment?
Well, yeah, we've heard from Sinn Féin this talk about, joining armies or being forced to join armies and fighting Ursula von der Leyen's war, like to exactly quote them. And this is just so over the top. It's ridiculous. And it's not fair to be using language like that, to be talking like that, to be putting fear into people like that. I think it's completely wrong. There is no conscription. The EU does not fight wars. There are some countries in the EU who want to protect themselves, and they're absolutely entitled to do that. And also,
but
as
you
a
do
country,
know there are very powerful people in Europe who would be in favour of a European army, for an example.
There is no proposal whatsoever for a European army, none whatsoever. And essentially, defence policy is still at national level, and there are countries out there making their own decisions, just as we are making our own decisions. And in fact, with removing the triple lock, that's what I'm asking for, is that Ireland would be able to make its own decisions on peacekeeping. That's all it's about. At the moment, we need the permission, obviously, of the government, of course, Dáil, of course, but we have to go to the UN Security Council as well. And the difficulty there is that we have to ask Russia, because Russia has a veto on any decision of the UN Security Council, along with China and USA.
So could you give me an example of a potential real-world scenario that would benefit us in the absence of the triple lock? So what do you imagine us doing without that Russian veto, to put it like that? What is the potential here?
Well, for example, we don't know if the UNIFIL mission in Lebanon will receive approval by the Security Council, or approval in the way that would suit Ireland at the end of this month. We just don't know. So what happens is then, if the Security Council mandate falls, Irish troops have to leave that day. The same with Bosnia. That's renewed every year in November. If the Security Council mandate falls, our troops have to leave that day. We have a number of troops as well on Operation Irini, which is on the Mediterranean, preventing weapons coming in illegally from Libya. That mandate was only renewed for 6 months there in June because of Russia. And if that mandate falls, we have no legal basis. Now, the reality is that while Irish troops would have to leave, in those cases, the peacekeeping missions would likely continue, because Irini on the Mediterranean was operating before it had a UN Security Council mandate protecting us from illegal weapons.
Just pardon my ignorance, Thomas, but what do we want to be doing now that we can't do with the triple lock? Now, you're talking about, say this were to happen and that could happen and potentially this could happen. But what I'm curious of, with the triple lock in place, what do we want to do or that we cannot do right now?
Well, Well, let's say at the end of this month the UNIFIL mandate in Lebanon doesn't pass the
Yeah, but
Security
we've had the
Council.
status quo for a very long time. Let's just
Yeah,
say
but
it
that
does.
could change. But that could change in 3 weeks. And in fact, that's been discussed in the media as to whether it might. That mission will continue. Now, what I would like is if that fails at the Security Council, that the Irish government could then, and the Dáil, the democracy here in this country that we vote for, would make its own decision. But at the moment, that decision is out of our hands. We're waiting to see what Russia, America, Britain, and China and France do at the Security Council.
I know it
It
is.
is not
I
within
know
our
it is
hands.
our democracy, but you talk about the Dáil making a democratic decision. We know also the makeup of the Dáil, the numbers of the Dáil, party whip systems being in place.
But that is democracy.
Of course, it is democracy. Yes.
Well, you're saying the
democracy
alternative
would
is allow
actually
Russia to decide.
democracy would be allowing, I think, members of a party to have a conscious vote or a free vote. But it means
But
what
what you're doing is sorry, not you, but if the alternative is that we give Russia a conscience vote or a free vote over Irish policy, that's the alternative.
Is it the geopolitical situation has changed? Because you will remember that your own party leader in the current Taoiseach very much argued against Fine Gael tampering with the triple lock. He said it was to the core of our neutrality. So, I mean, and neutrality is a big issue, and that's what Sinn Féin is commenting on. What has changed in 10 years that Micheál Martin was of the view that the triple lock was the core of our neutrality to now? So what's changed that makes that statement no longer stand?
Well, you're absolutely, it's exactly what you said. The geopolitical situation has changed dramatically. So we have had no new peacekeeping missions agreed at the United Nations since 2014. And every time the ones that need renewal come up for renewal at the Security Council, we don't know. So what happens is in the Lebanon, that peacekeeping mission would likely continue at the invitation of the Lebanese government in September if the worst came to the worst. And we don't know that yet. But the Irish contingent would have to leave on that day because there's no legal basis. So the situation has changed dramatically. Russia has invaded Ukraine, and we have
Israel has shot at Irish soldiers.
Absolutely, it's a very dangerous situation, and we absolutely, and we're very, very strong about that.
But I don't think the geopolitical situation has changed as much, Thomas, as we're trying to change our position. We're a neutral country, and yet we that is the perception of the population. Yet we aren't politically neutral. That's not a decision that we have made. We are taking very strong stances on geopolitical issues. You know. And this seems to be a further step towards that. I mean, why can we not, in fact, strengthen our neutrality? Why can't we be the peacemakers rather than trying to sort of run with the big boys of Europe?
We're not running with any big boys of Europe. What we're saying is that our foreign policy is dictated, first of all, by our Constitution. And our Constitution demands that we respect morality, international law, friendly relations among the nations. These are all phrases in the Constitution. And to do that, we must uphold the United Nations Charter, which, for example, with Russia and Ukraine, the reason why we're not politically neutral on that at all is because it's a complete breach of the UN Charter. The reason we're so strong in relation to Gaza and Palestine is because we're going back to look at the basic principles of international law and indeed the resolutions of the United Nations Security Councils and the General Assembly. But in terms of peacekeeping, we want to be able to make our own decisions, just like every single other country in the world. There are no other neutral countries that have a similar provision to us on the triple lock. And the geopolitical situation, particularly with Russia invading Ukraine and the way they're acting at the Security Council, doesn't.
Well, it's not ideal. Not right. I mean, China and Russia were also a problem back in 2015 when Micheál Martin was dead against any element of this. You know, does the United Nations, though, albeit sometimes we don't like the decisions of some members. Is that not sort of a very critical part of sort of international relations? And by us foregoing that, we're stepping outside of potentially its important role. As I say, maybe if Russia put in a veto, maybe it is through the offices of the United Nations that we try and reach a peace or we try and negotiate. Is that not the whole ethos of the United Nations? But we're saying stuff that we'll just do whatever the government of the day decides we should do.
No, we're not saying that at all. In fact, completely the opposite. What we're saying is
that's what Micheál Martin also said, by the way. So it's not an original thought.
We're not saying to stuff the United Nations, and we're not saying anything, that would contradict what Micheál Martin says. The situation with Russia has changed since then dramatically. Our abiding principles on international law and our foreign relations is upholding the UN system, upholding the system of international law, upholding the values of peace and friendly relations among the nations. That's what binds us, and that's what would bind any decision of the government to send peacekeepers abroad. That's the reality. That's the legal basis on which we do it. What we're saying is we need to remove a third leg of a stool, which gives a decision to Russia rather than to the Dáil. And I want that decision fully in the Dáil and fully in the government. And that's all we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
And by the way, Sinn Féin aren't simply saying this is something to do with neutrality. They're saying that it will lead to conscription, that it will lead to, they've talked about their children going to fight foreign wars. This is just complete and utter nonsense. It's baloney, and they know it's nonsense and baloney. They know it is, and they should be challenged on their exact words, not about some principles of neutrality.
That's what your job and my job is. But the point is though, is it not a case that this might not in and of itself lead to what Sinn Féin is suggesting?
Not lead to it.
But it certainly removes. Yes, but we don't know. That's how things. That's how things
What you're
progress.
suggesting is that an Irish government would take some decision to go off, in the words of Sinn Féin, to fight another man's war or to fight Ursula von der Leyen's war. This type of language is inflammatory. It's designed to whip people up at public meetings. And that is why Sinn Féin, quite frankly, aren't in government, because there's enough of the Irish public know, and as the Sinn Féin TDs who say this know it themselves, this is complete and utter nonsense.
It's been lovely speaking to you, Minister. Thank you very much for your time. Have
Thanks
a great
very
day.
much.
Take care. Bye-bye. That is Minister of State for European Affairs, Thomas Byrne. A lot in there. As I say, just in relation to the triple lock, I mean, this is Micheál Martin's views on it not so long ago, 2013.
Earlier this year, Minister Shatter signalled that he would try to water down Ireland's commitment to the triple lock, which is the core of our neutrality. He presented the idea that it was contradictory and we were giving unsavoury countries a veto over our actions. This is an argument which has been behind the efforts of a wing of Fine Gael to erode neutrality over the years.
And on he went. So the very argument, to some extent, that Sinn Féin are making now is a very similar argument to Micheál Martin was making himself. And you can talk about a change in the geopolitical standing, but you heard him reference there the exact same argument that it gives, unsavoury countries, maybe China, maybe Russia, influence that they shouldn't have, but it was there already. But I'm curious, and I suppose it was answered to some extent. What will it permit us to do that we're not already doing? If you know what I'm saying. Okay, any views on that, of course, 086 60 25,000.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Indulge yourself with friends or a loved one at the Spa at Orchids at the Holyrood Hotel in Bundoran. A midweek or weekend spa break is the perfect way to escape from life for a while. Take a leisurely walk along the Atlantic coast. Enjoy a dip in our private pool, a plunge in our Canadian hot tub, and treatments of your choice before dining in one of the Holyrood Hotel's acclaimed restaurants. The Spa at Orchids. Book now at holyroodhotel.com.
TFI Local Link operates evening and weekend services throughout rural Ireland to help you stay connected 7 days a week. We know life doesn't just happen 9 to 5, so if you're commuting, shopping, visiting family, or going out in the evenings or on the weekends, let TFI Local Link take you there. Visit transportforireland.ie.
Right now, B&Q Club members get 15% off when you spend €75 or more on everything in-store and online. Not a member? Join today. Save today. Sign up in-store or online at diy.ie. Hurry! Offer ends Tuesday. You can do it when you B&Q it. Exclusions and terms and conditions apply. See diy.ie.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonagher Road, Donegal Town.
Back to school? Don't worry. Tesco has got you covered with great offers like a 3-pack of polo shirts from €5, plus 25% off all uniforms with your club card. If only figuring out the kids' homework was that easy. Tesco. Every little helps. Available in the majority of larger stores. Offer valid from the 30th of July to the 10th of August. Club card or app required.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
11:22, and that is a morning that seems to me anyway to be going very quickly. Anil Anthony is of the Indian community in Letterkenny. He joins me now. Anil, good morning to you.
Hi, Greg. Morning. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you on the programme. When did you come here? How long ago is it since you came here? And I suppose, Anil, what were you looking forward to as part of a new life for you and your friends, or maybe even family in Ireland?
Yeah, Greg, mainly I just want to raise my concerns regarding the recent attacks on the Indian community. Just a bit on my background, I moved to Ireland from Singapore 16 years ago, along with 22 others to work in IT at Pramerica. In fact, most of us actually accepted even lower salary compared to what we were earning there because Ireland was seen as safe and friendly and promising place to settle down.
And what was it like?
So,
That's what you came believing it to be. What was it like when you moved here, settling in, and how you were treated?
yeah, I remember like back then when even the strangers would wave or nod as they pass by, something I hadn't seen anywhere else. So it was like we feel welcomed here. But if you see, Greg, the last 4 or 5 years, there have been a significant change in in the way the people see us, and we feel unsafe and unwelcome. Even during election, it was very, very alarming to see that some people seem to even campaigning against the legal migration here. So you may know yourself, like recently several Indians have been violently attacked, and only a couple of them incidents were reported in the media. Um, if you see, they are well qualified, like Amazon professional, and another one was Dr. Santosh, AI scientist. He was suffered a fractured cheekbone. So these all are well educated people, and yet they were targeted. The situation, Greg, is so serious that the Indian embassy has issued a warning to its citizens in Ireland, something that has never happened before in the last 15 to 20 years
Anil,
time.
you talked
So
about the last 4 or 5 years. We'll give this a little bit of time if you don't mind. You talked about things changing over the last 4 or 5 years. Just as a member of the Indian community living in Ireland now for almost 2 decades, how does that manifest itself? Is it language? Is it looks? Is it treatment? I mean, when you talk of things getting more difficult in recent years, what is your experience or the experience of your fellow community members?
we see that a lot of people, even the locals, some of the locals are turning against the migrant workers here, because the way people treat and they talk. So I know it may be very a small part of the population here. Majority are still welcoming us, and but it is still alarming, because especially during the election, I see the talks like this
Yeah. See,
happening a lot.
I suspect, and I'm interested in your views on this, I suspect that it's not necessarily that people are becoming more intolerant or racist, for an example, to people like you, Anil. It's that they were always there, but people now feel they have a voice. So, in other words, something that you could never have said before without being accused of being racist or unwelcoming, that the same people that probably harbored these opinions feel now that they could speak out rather than more people becoming intolerant. I'm just interested in your views on that potential.
Yeah, Greg, I do respect their views as well, but the my point is that we have to do more to make it clear that we need legal migrant workers here. So I also follow the social media and see that a lot of media comments, and I see the main reason, one of the main reason behind the unrest is that locals are upset about the rise of asylum seekers in the recent years. With all due respect and sympathy for the asylum seekers and acknowledge they need protection, I what I don't understand is why Indians are being targeted. We are high taxpayers. We
But
make
you
up
know
only
why?
0
You know
to
why?
one
Because
percentage of asylum seeker
But
population.
the reason why is because, and this is not, I'm not in any way justifying it, my word, no. What I'm saying, the reason why is that people associate asylum seeking with people of who aren't white, and you aren't white, and people see you and they presume that you've just got off a coach having come into Dublin Airport yesterday. There is no distinguishing in some people's minds between people who've been living and working here or are second or third generation immigrants and asylum seekers. And that's the issue. I don't think enough necessarily has been done at government levels or in the maybe even public representatives and to some extent the media to distinguish between people who live and work here and have for some time and this is their home, and those that are coming here from another country through the iPass system. That's the problem.
Yeah, I can understand that. That's where what I'm coming to. Like we have to public representatives here, right? They must clearly communicate that the legal migration is essential to sustain the Ireland economy and public services. You can see that 78,500 Indians are on valid work visa, and they are here because there is a shortage of local workers. So they are, and if you see 1 in 5 nurses in Ireland are Indians, about 18,500 professionals supporting the healthcare system and IT and any sector you take, you know yourself, Greg, like there is a huge shortage of resources. We need more, right? 2,000 unfilled nurses posts are here. 6,500 healthcare workers are needed by end of 2025. So and I'm not getting into all the details like construction and special needs services. We know there is a huge shortage. So what if the hate and fear continue to grow in Ireland, we risk losing the essential migrant workers. We have seen this happen before for different reasons. Between 2010 and 2015, each year, Greg, 80,000 people have left Ireland. You can check stats yourself. So what we have to do, right, from the public leaders should enforce stricter laws against racial abuse to protect all community, share accurate facts to make it clear to the locals, like the contribution of local migrant workers and how they support Irish economy. And we also have to streamline the asylum approval process to ensure that people are accepted based on Ireland infrastructure capacity.
The problem I envisage here, though, Anil, because politics is a very, very funny old thing, is that you will have noticed yourself a change in political parties' conversation and language and attitudes towards migrants, those fleeing other countries. The government would say many of them are. The government would say many of them are coming over here only for financial reasons. The opposition might have said locally that, Donegal has perhaps taken as many as we can manage. And I just wonder if they are going to bat for the likes of your community, because it might be very hard to articulate without the anti-immigration people going at them. So in other words, it's easier to say quiet than trying to distinguish between legal and illegal migration. And I think that is a challenge that politicians aren't necessarily up for.
Yeah, there should be more communications and initiatives, to make it clear. So to wrap up my point, right? What I see, like many of us have spent 15 to 20 years of our savings to buy home or pay mortgages and settle here. And to be honest, we need safe and secure environment for our families, So, and we are looking forward to the politicians or whoever is the lawmakers to make strict, strong actions to protect migrant workers, Greg.
Okay, well, listen, thank you very much for joining us. I do appreciate your time. That is Anil Anthony of the Indian community in Letterkenny. Your views to 086 60 25,000, or in fact, give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
If you're aged 59 to 70, we will invite you for a free HSE bowel screening home test. Screening can help find signs of bowel cancer early, before any symptoms show, making it easier to treat.
Since I switched to Hidden Hearing, I can hear it all.
You could save up to €3,000 off invisible hearing aids. Save when you switch to us, upgrade, or save on your very first hearing aids. Pre-phone 1-800-370-000. Switch and save at hiddenhearing.ie. You should go to the hearing experts. T's and C's apply.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with their bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Friday 9am until 5pm and on Saturdays from 9am until 3:30pm. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
What might sound like chaos to us is a moment of pure serenity for Lisa. Because the kids are back for seconds, the picky eaters are happy, and her barbecue is going down a treat. From barbecue bundles to everyday savings, summer is served at Dunnes Stores, with online delivery, click and collect, and same-day delivery with Buy Me. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply.
Get ready for the 56th Clonmany Agricultural Show at Pollen Green Tuesday and Wednesday, August 5th and 6th. Experience action-packed fun for the whole family with thrilling livestock exhibitions, sheepdog trials and celebrity chef demos by Brian McDermott, Kevin Dundon and Kawaji Chan. Enjoy live music, jiving competitions, fashion demos from Verve Boutique, also makeup demos, plus don't miss the pet shows and so much more. The Clonmany Agricultural Show, Tuesday and Wednesday, 5th and 6th of August.
Win 2 tickets to see Oasis in Crow Park this summer thanks to Heron Auto, Donegal Town. To be in with a chance of winning, simply test drive any new Kia or used car at Heron Auto between now and August 14th. Full range of new Kia cars in stock and over 70 used cars. Visit Heron Auto today.
Don't delay when you get your bowel screening invitation. Call us today on 1-800 45 45 55 or visit bowelscreen.ie. From the HSE.
Okay, joined on the programme now by Sinn Féin Councillor Jack Murray. Good morning, Jack. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Greg.
Right, now, you've been digging into some figures as it relates to the health service, specifically Letterkenny University Hospital, and it's that controversial issue of blood tests, Jack. What have you found?
Yeah, it's quite shocking. Actually, through a parliamentary question submitted by my colleague Pierce Doherty, we've discovered that the outsourcing of just 5.5% of blood tests from Letterkenny University Hospital has been costing €1.2 million a year. And the HSE have also confirmed that if they were to do that in-house, it would have cost just over €100,000. So over €1.1 million annually is being spent to a private company. Now, all that is required to save that money is an extension to the current building. If they could do that, they could do that in-house and save over €1 million a year, €1 million that could be used elsewhere within our health service. If you think of the doctors, the nurses, the frontline staff, and care that is so badly required within the health system in Donegal, I just think it's crazy wastage of public funding.
Have we been able to? Yeah, for sure. Have we been able to find out at all what the delay is in seeking an extension or increasing testing capacity locally?
All that's been confirmed to us as parliamentary question is that a form has been completed and it's been sent to the capital and estates section of the HSE, and it seems at that point it hasn't been approved. And they've confirmed that they've been aware of this for a number of years, and it's just sat there mothballing as far as I can see. So through your own show, I'd be appealing now to the HSE, please release this money, save the taxpayer money, and invest this €1 million a year much more wisely where it's so badly needed. Yeah,
and you talked about sort of planning as well. This hasn't been thrust upon us. We have seen an increase in demand on the lab. So, we perhaps should be planning more, especially when, the taxpayers' money's on the table.
Absolutely. So, since 2019, there was just under 4 million blood tests a year in Letterkenny Hospital. By 2024, that increased to over 7 million. So it was an increase of 78%. If that continues to increase, then the outsourcing will be further required. And again, there'll be more public money be invested into a private company. So we know it's there. We've known for years. But at this moment in time, I think now that it's public knowledge, I would hope that the pressure was on the HSE to act accordingly and just extend the pathology lab in Letterkenny University Hospital. Like
It would make you wonder what it must be like to work in there too, if they're so oversubscribed that the overwhelming majority are being sent out. The current resources and the current staff must be just at 110% the whole time.
Yeah, and they've been working to 2 a.m. in the morning. Even in the Department of Question Response, it references staff burnout. So it's really unfair on our staff. And it's really unfair, particularly when we know the solution. We just know we need an extension in that building. It's there in front of our face. Like, it's not something we're trying to figure out. We know it's there. So we just need to front load the investment, extend the pathology lab, save this money and look after our staff who are on the front line.
Yeah, because we had obviously the recent controversy over the surgical hub, etc. This is sort of in-house, isn't it? You know, this is not the same thing we're talking about here. This is about a facility that obviously has not grown to match the demand. You know, there are funds within the HSE and systems and what have you that should be, or if they haven't already, should be tapped into to make this a lab that's fit for demand.
Absolutely, it's all there. Everything's been completed. The form's been completed, sent to capital and estates. So we know the solution. We know what's required. We know that it'll save €1 million a year. We just need to release the money to do so.
Right,
it's,
okay.
It's obvious.
We'll make inquiries to the HSE to see the status of that application and how favourably they're looking at it. I must ask you, as you're a Buncrana rep, earlier on we had a conversation stroke debate with a local person who has approached people working on the development of an iPass centre in Buncrana. As a result of that, they were told that if they continued to work there, their pictures would be taken, videos of them would be taken, they'd be posted on social media. And if they still didn't desist from working there, peaceful protests would be taking place outside their homes. And it seems to have been gathering quite a lot of attention nationally. Is this Buncrana? Is this what the people of Buncrana want?
No, not at all. No, I didn't hear the interview, but I'm aware of what's been said. No, people don't want that. And I'm always concerned that people are trying to stoke up tension, stoke up fear and division in the community. Look, and I have concerns of what's happening in St Mary's Road. And even as recently as this morning, my colleague Paddy McLaughlin has made representations to the Department of Integration to see what the story is there, because it is clearly an over-intensification. But you wouldn't get planning permission for apartments there, so it's too much. But it's a step beyond to start following people home, intimidating them outside their house, and I would absolutely call on anybody not to engage in that type of activity at all. It's way beyond what. And now, the one person I know on your show has said that, but see, the people of Buncrana that I speak to, that's not representative of their beliefs at all.
Okay, thank you for that counterpoint. I appreciate it. That is Councillor Jack Murray, 08660 25000, our WhatsApp and our text number. Let us know what you think. Greg, getting rid of the triple lock is really simple to understand. Right now, we don't control our own military. Without it, we do. Is it our control of the military, or is it to sort of try and do what maybe the powers that be want us to do? I don't know. Greg, attacks on the Indian community or any community is disgraceful and un-Christian. They contribute so much to to every business in the country. Irish people went all over the world for work and a better life when Ireland had nothing to offer their own. Attacks on anyone is pure ignorance and much more. But I mean, listen, people who've lived here, and I've spoken to people who would be living here now for 10, 20 years, second generations, they themselves have concerns about access to resources, about their children being able to get a house or what have you. And they have also concerns about our current immigration policy. Just because you are of a certain heritage, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden your views don't align to that of a different cohort of people. It is kind of interesting. It's not hard to understand, but yeah. Greg, would this be the same Micheál Martin who said we would never go into a coalition with Fine Gael? The video is still probably floating about on YouTube. Now, they are best buddies and the two parties are virtually indistinguishable from each other. I wouldn't put too much store by what Micheál says. Listen, I think all parties in a run up to election want to stand on their own mandate and will distance themselves from potential coalition partners, but eventually end up in coalition with them. I think really on this fundamental sort of policy, the shift is slightly different because the very arguments that Micheál Martin was making in 2013 are the same arguments now that the opposition are being lambasted for. So I get your point, and they are the same, but I also think they're a little bit different. Let the people decide if they want to change the triple lock, not the government. Thank you. Ask the question, we, the people, decide in a referendum. Come on, Greg. They're ruling out a referendum in relation to it. Sorry, I thought that question had been extensively asked and answered. It is such... I think anything that gives a power on any issue to the government of the day that has numbers whereby they effectively decide... I think for the public's sake, it would be good to have referendums on these matters. Maybe we should have some sort of a mechanism where a referendum isn't such a hoo-ha, in the age of digital, whereby the public can be polled on certain issues in massive numbers, and that can help influence the direction the country goes in. I don't know. But it does seem like a big issue. Our neutrality for many people is incredibly important, and many people feel that this does dilute it. And I will say that in 2013, that was exactly the views of Micheál Martin. Such an interesting insight into autism from a wonderful young lady. Well done. Yes, she is brilliant, isn't she? Greg, just wanted to say well done to Caitlin. Thanks for being so brave in helping others with your podcast. I'm looking forward to listening to it, as I am. Another, I'm a volunteer with a loan. I'm making calls today, but can't get anyone. The phones must be down because of the storm. Can you mention this on your show, please? So that's someone having difficulties dialing out, so to speak. Can I have a mention, please, for a young boy from Glasgow who's on holidays just now at his grand's house in Faughan? Matthew Anthony just received a Scottish exam result at 8 a.m. this morning, and he's now going to Glasgow University to study law and politics. Congratulations. Love for Mum, Dad, and wee brother Ryan Patrick. We're so proud of you. That's a couple of students from Scotland over on their hollybobs here at the moment, getting some good news. Okay, brilliant. And you know what? Even if you didn't get the results you required, it might seem like the biggest deal at the moment. It doesn't matter a dot. It really, really doesn't. Trust me on that. All right, I'm going to be chatting to our friend Owen Corrie, editor of Travel Extra, after a short break.
Don't miss out on our clearance of all garden furniture and other outdoor articles at Yisk. Save up to 60%. Everything must go. Yisk.
Scandinavian sleeping and living.
At Eclipse Cinemas Bundoran and Lifford Strabane, the stars shine brighter. This isn't just a trip to the movies, it's a VIP experience. Sit back in luxury as your favourite pizza,
yummy,
hot food and a cold drink are delivered right to your seat in any studio. But for the ultimate treat, step into the Director's Lounge, our most popular destination. Enjoy the film, enjoy the food and savour the experience. Only at Eclipse Cinemas Bundoran and Lifford Strabane.
It's Cabaret 25 at Harvey's Point. We start again on Wednesday, September the 3rd, and every Wednesday until November the 5th. An amazing lineup of stars, gourmet food, the warmest of welcomes, and all in the beautiful surrounds of Harvey's Point on Lough Esk, Donegal Town. Book today 074 972 2208 or harveyspoint.com. The Harvey's Point Cabaret, a night not to be missed.
Ready for a giant summer adventure at unmissable value? It's just a small step away in Northern Ireland. Blast off with family deals at the Armagh Planetarium. Early riser offers at the iconic Titanic Belfast. Dive into history at Ulster Folk Museum. Free for under fives. Explore Carrickfergus Castle on the Causeway Coastal Route. Discover a legend at Seamus Heaney's homeplace, Balahi. And epic package deals at Lusty Beg Island Resort for Fermanagh. Book now for great value summer offers at discovernorthernireland.com.
Hybrid, plug-in hybrid, electric. Don't get confused. Get excited with Toyota, Ireland's best-selling car brand. At Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles, you get the power of choice. There's our wide range to see, including the Toyota CHR and the all-electric BZ4X, with power-up boosters of up to €3,000 and flexible payment options available. So order now at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world. T's and C's apply. Best-selling claim based on latest figures.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find amazing savings across our departments with up to 50% off your favourite brands in our summer sale. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
So let's have a look at that weather forecast. And it's going to improve in the afternoon. Showers becoming increasingly isolated. Highest temperatures 15 to 19 degrees with moderate to fresh west to northwest winds, decreasing light to moderate later in the day. So Ryanair are getting rid of printed boarding passes. They're not going to be accepted from November 3rd. As I said at the start of the show, I haven't used one in I don't know, and it doesn't bother me. But that doesn't mean it doesn't bother quite a lot of people out there. Owen Corrie, I think, might not like this idea. Owen Corrie is editor of Travel Extra. Good morning to you, Owen. How are you keeping?
Good morning. Not bad at all. A lot of people, I think up to 20% of passengers are still using paper boarding passes. When you think of all the different cultures that Ryanair deals with and the countries they fly to.
Yeah, that's a number much higher than I would have anticipated. And we kind of presume the picture that you might see at the boarding gate at Ireland West is the same in every airport or every country that Ryanair engage in. But clearly not. There's going to be cultural differences and access to technology, etc.
Absolutely. And, it goes, there's a demographic. It's always a demographic mentioned. But there are a lot of younger people who do not engage with smartphones. They don't trust them. They just have had bad experiences with them and like that little bit of paper between their finger and their thumb. I did a forum at Holiday World show in January, and there were about 300 or 400 people at it for the Ryanair session. And it was rumoured at the time, there was no date set, it was going to be May originally, and there was a lot of anger by people. Michael O'Leary's response, as Michael O'Leary always does, is the granny will always find a grandchild who will get the boarding pass for them and sort it out for them. But the real goal here is he's driving the whole travel experience back to the Ryanair app. And where he's looking, he's surveying the death of traditional search engine that as we know it with the emergence of AI. And he's saying that apps are the future. People, instead of going into Google, are going into an app on their smartphone. And he wants all of that to be within Ryanair. He wants the booking, the check-in, and the boarding pass to be within that. So that's really the goal at the end for him. Why is he doing it? 25 minutes turnaround. That is the entire Ryanair business model. They offer the fares they do because each of their aircraft lands somewhere and takes off 25 minutes later. If that gets delayed, the business model is threatened. People foostering around for bits of paper tends to slow that down.
That being said, batteries going flat, screens darkening, apps closing. I see more flutering sort of at the boarding gate with the phones. More, the paper is just scanning away you go. But who am I to question Michael O'Leary? The thing is they must have done some internal numbers on this to sort of find, whilst 20% might go for paper, how many of those just like that whole process of printing them out and having them and putting them in little booklets, and how many is it because they simply don't have a mobile phone or don't trust technology?
He says when the mobile battery runs down, once you've checked in, once they know who you are, and once you have the passport you're getting on, which does raise the question, do we need boarding passes in the first place? But back to what Ryanair has successfully done, they do tend to set this deadline, this ultimatum. They did it, we're not serving coffee on board. Tony Ryan was still alive. He nearly lost it at the time. You can't fly without offering free coffee. Michael O'Leary persuaded him you could. He also said we're going to charge for bags. There was absolute chaos, carnage at the time. You can't charge for a check-in bag. He did it, and he reduced the number of people who check in a bag from 80% of their passengers down to 20%. So he does have this self-fulfilling thing that he says something, everybody says it can never happen, and it does. And he's going for paperless boarding passes.
And of course, when you open the app now, it's very live. So when you open the app now, the baggage drop info's there. You can make adjustments to your seating, or you can get through a bit quicker, or you can pre-order your food. You can see why he keeps wanting to get eyes on that app. It will remain to be seen how successful it is. I mean, they're a juggernaut. They've just announced another month of record passengers, Owen. I mean, they decide when we jump, and they also decide how high, and that's just the bottom line of it, it seems.
And 20.7 million of us jumped how high last month. It would have been higher even if the Boeing aircraft, he only got, he was short 25 aircraft that were supposed to come from Boeing, but the supply line meant his growth is slower. It grew by about 3%. Ryanair carries as many passengers in 10 days as Aer Lingus does in a year. That's the scale he's at. When you look at the big airlines across Europe, though, not one of them is back to pre-pandemic. Lufthansa are about 97% there, Aer Lingus around 95%, Air France are about 90% of where they were in 2019. He's 40% ahead of where he was. That's the level of the way he aggressively tackles the market, and he gets things done, and he gets things moving, and he fights with people all the time. But passengers love it because the fares are absolutely terrific, and there's nobody going to beat him on that.
Oh, and what feedback are you getting, if it's only maybe anecdotal at this stage, as we haven't seen the numbers, for the hotspots, the usuals places? I was, and I hadn't been away since before the pandemic, but I was in Salou and I was talking to some of the locals in the shops, and they weren't buying in products because the numbers were down so low. And I've heard similar reports from other places. Are you getting that impression, or are attitudes changing, or are less of us travelling, or maybe that was just, as I say, the views of a couple of people, and things are booming everywhere?
Things are not booming everywhere. The Irish outbound is very strong, thanks to Ryanair particularly, and Aer Lingus, who launched their own new upgrade this morning as well. But the German market, on whom a lot of Spain depends, isn't back to pre-pandemic. As I say, Lufthansa isn't back. The Russian market was very important to Salou. It's completely gone. That there's more than 1.5 million people every year for the Salou region and Cambril. They're all suffering. Ireland is about 20% ahead, really strong. The Spaniards love us at the moment, and the reason they love us is we're good spenders and we're good travellers. But as you say, it's not the same. It's been spotty across Europe. And the industry needs more predictability and consistency. If you're planning, whatever about getting supplies in, if you're planning to extend your hotel, you really need some sort of notion of what's going to happen next. And that isn't happening across Europe. It's not going to be helped by the international situation on tariffs and the implications for the economy. But as I say, the Irish market, very, very strong for Spain and Portugal.
Yeah, I seem to have seen every year, or more consistent now, temperatures in some of the most popular destinations in the very high 30s, mid 40s. It doesn't seem to be the weather. This seems to be the climate. Do you anticipate, I wonder, are they worried down there as maybe Northern Europeans or even people from Russia, if that situation is ever resolved, sort of saying, you know what, I like the sun, I like the heat, but that's actually just a little bit blooming hot for me. I'm going to look somewhere else.
They're called sun holidays for a reason. It hasn't affected bookings at all. But there is, if you're planning, as I say, economic investment, people are looking at what long term is, what is happening long term with climate. It's less a problem with the sun results. They don't see the two heat waves that come through an El Nino pattern. They don't see that as being tremendously abnormal, though some of us are old enough to remember similar bunches of very hot summers back in the early 80s and mid-90s. But the planning for everything has to be, in the tourism business, has to be predicated by how the market will react. And we don't see any implication for bookings out of heat waves. But you do see it in, for instance, the ski resorts of the Alps. Very, very hard to get anyone bank to lend you money if you're a more low-lying resort like Morsey to do an expansion at the moment, because they see the melt in the Alps going only one direction. The whole argument about climate change and sustainability quite complex when it's applied to tourism. One heat wave doesn't change people's minds. It has to be longer term.
Yes, indeed. And that is a perfect example of a question being predicated on my experience, because I don't go skiing. So I would focus on the sun. Finally, towards late August into September, maybe even if we've managed to offload the kids back to school, or maybe they've left school and sodded off, where it would be nice, August maybe into September, Owen?
What seems to have happened is the airlines priced a little bit higher early in the year. They expected demand to be higher than it is, because when there's awful, it shouldn't be legal to open a school before September,
I agree.
First Monday in September.
I agree.
Bringing them back in August, that's shocking. That's mistreatment of children. But August 27, once those schools go back, you can get our trunk routes from Dublin, Malaga and Faro for €35 on Ryanair. Now you will have to put all all your clothes for the holidays in a small little bag. But once even with you've paid the priority boarding and everything, it's really, really cheap. And that is a lot cheaper than it would have been in the summer, before the summer tapered out a couple of years ago. I do think they had too many seats. They didn't sell them, and the bots are kicking in and offering cheaper fares at the moment.
Okay.
You also keep an eye, on the new services from Derry Airport, which are always important in Donegal. And you've got three competing airlines in Belfast International, because Jet2, EasyJet and Ryanair are all competing on those big routes. To Malaga, Faro are the trunk routes, but all the other Spanish routes.
And it's local to us as well. Brilliant, Owen.
And,
Listen,
anywhere you have three airlines competing is really good for prices.
Owen, listen, I always love speaking to you. Thank you so very much. Owen Corrie, editor of Travel Extra. Check out Travel Extra, by the way, for broad information on trips and what have you. That's where we leave it today. Great to be back with you after the longer weekend. For some of us, we're back tomorrow morning at 9.